Good evening and welcome to tonight's council meeting. It's Wednesday, August the 5th, 2026, and it's 7 p.m. Before we start tonight's meeting, I will read our ground rules. As your mayor and presiding officer, my role under the town charter and town Dumfries rules of procedure, Robert's rules of order, is ensure that we have orderly processing of business and to maintain a decorum for all participants, our council, our staff, and the public, and so that they can be heard fairly and respectfully. To that end, please note the following requirements, which apply equally to the council members and the public. All comments must be directed through the mayor, who is the chair and the presiding officer. No comment should be directed to an individual member of staff or a member of the public. Side conversations, whispering, and crosstalk is not permitted so that remarks may remain audible to the room and part of the official recording. Electronic devices, we ask that you silence them. Any texts, emailing, or messages related to public business matters during this meeting may be subject to FOIA and should be avoided. No one may speak while another person has the floor. Interruptions will be ruled out of order. Council members will be recognized by the mayor before speaking. Council members may speak up to 2 times on any item with a combined total of no more than 10 minutes. Members of the public will be allotted 3 minutes to speak during the sign-up time of citizen comment or public hearings unless otherwise changed by majority vote of the council prior to the meeting. During citizen comment time, council members will not respond directly to the speakers. Responses, clarifications, or any follow-up more remarks may be made or offered later during a designated council comment time. Any member ruled out of order must yield the floor immediately unless the ruling is appealed in accordance with Robert's rules. We ask that clapping, yelling, or outbursts not permitted unless invited. Disruptive behavior may result in a removal from the meeting and, if necessary, exposure for the remainder of the session. Speakers who exceed allotted time or violate decorum may have their microphone silenced. Political commentary or attempts to draw staff into political matters are not appropriate. Staff are expected to continue to remain neutral and professional. These rules are designed to protect the rights of all participants, ensure compliance with the law, and keep our meetings efficient, respectful, and productive. Thank you for your cooperation. Madam Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Fields,
Here.
Councilman Pete,
Here.
Councilman Young,
Here.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Present.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Present.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Here.
Mayor Wood.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll now have a moment of silent prayer and reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. In Jesus' name. All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please be seated.
Yes.
All right, next on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. All right, I will have on the agenda, we're going to remove on the consent agenda the MOU, letter C, Memorandum of Understanding for Historic Dumfries. Any other items before we? Okay, seeing none. Yep, we can do that in the form of a motion.
A second.
Okay, second. Okay, any other discussion? All right. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call for the question. Call your motion.
Councilman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Councilman Young,
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed.
With that, I will make a motion for the town manager to meet with Historic Dumfries about the MOU so that we can draw further clarity.
A second.
Okay? It's been motioned and second. Any discussion on that? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, call for the question.
Councilman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Councilman Young,
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed.
All right, next we will go to awards and proclamation.
Mayor Wood,
Yes, oh, Madam,
it's okay.
yes, ma'am.
I apologize. Mayor Wood, if we could have the reordering of the reports and presentation, item D to be moved to B.
Okay. All right, so we'll put that right after the branding.
Yes,
And
thank
we'll
you,
just,
sir.
we'll move retail up to do branding. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. First proclamation is one to proclaim the month of August as Black Business Month. It says, whereas Black-owned businesses have long contributed to the economic strength, the cultural identity, the innovation, resiliency, and vitality of communities throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia and the United States. And whereas Black entrepreneurs transform ideas into enterprises, they create employment opportunities, they activate commercial corridors, they provide essential goods and service, they strengthen families, and they help build a foundation for generational wealth and economic mobility. Whereas Black-owned employer business across the United States generate billions of dollars in economic activity. They employ more than 1 million people that contribute significantly to the nation's payroll, the tax base, the supply chains, and the local economies. Whereas despite the substantial contributions, many Black entrepreneurs continue to experience barriers to capital, contracting opportunities, technical assistance, professional networks, commercial space, and other resources necessary to start, sustain, and scale successful enterprises. Whereas supporting the Black-owned business requires more than recognition during 1 month, it requires intentional partnerships, inclusive economic development practices, expand access to opportunity, and sustained commitment from residents, businesses, financial institutions, corporations at every level of government. And whereas the Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce serves as a statewide connector, convener, advocate, and resources for entrepreneurs and small businesses throughout the Commonwealth, helping bring businesses pursue greater visibility, education, capital readiness, contracts, workforce development, leadership opportunities, strategic relationships, and long-term growth. And whereas through its business development programs, their public policy advocacy, their government contract initiatives, their educational opportunities, their regional partnerships, their signature events and community engagement, the Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce is helping build a stronger, more connected, and more sustainable business ecosystem across the Commonwealth. And whereas the town of Dumfries recognized that cultivating successful local business is essential to creating jobs, increasing economic mobility, expanding the commercial tax base, and strengthening our neighborhoods and advancing our vision of transforming Dumfries from a community that was overlooked to one that becomes an unforgettable destination. And whereas Black Business Month provides an important opportunity to celebrate courage, creativity, sacrifice, achievement, economic impact of Black entrepreneurs while encouraging consumer corporations, institutions, and government agencies to intentionally purchase from, to partner with, to invest in, and create opportunities for Black-owned business throughout the year. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Town Council of Dumfries do hereby proclaim and recognize the Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce for its leadership, its advocacy, its service, and commitment to advancing entrepreneurship and economic opportunities throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. We further encourage Dumfries residents, business institutions, and community partners to discover, to support, to promote, to mentor, to contract, and to invest in Black-owned businesses, not only during August, but throughout the entire year. Signed by order of the Town Council, Mayor Derek R. Wood. You may applaud. Next. Said she didn't want to come.
She wanted to take the picture.
Told her she got to get in the picture.
Don't do this alone.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you.
Say some.
everyone. On behalf of the Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce, I sincerely thank the town of Dumfries, the mayor, the town council, and all of you for your leadership and incredible honor. Receiving this proclamation in recognition is deeply meaningful, and we are grateful. Your recognition sends a powerful message that Black-owned businesses matter, that contributions and their success matters. As we celebrate National Black Business Month, let this proclamation be more than a moment of recognition. Let it be a reminder that when government, businesses, and communities work together, we create stronger economies and a brighter future for everyone. Thank you again for this tremendous honor. We are grateful for your partnership, and we look forward to continuing this work together as a community.
Was the mic on? We're not gonna make you say all that again, but maybe. Okay, but maybe just tell us, what are y'all doing for Black Business Month that you can invite the public to?
Absolutely. For National Black Business Month, for 6 years, we have held the Virginia Black Expo. This event brings about 150 vendors and entrepreneurs from all across the Commonwealth. And this year, we are expecting at least 3,000 attendees. It will be on August 22nd, held at Main Street Station in Richmond. I can tell you to date, we've already gotten 2,400 people registered, and we still have 3 weeks. So that is how we celebrate Black business, by making sure that we can recycle dollars back into the community, and we do that celebrating the Virginia Black Expo.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation proclaiming National Senior Citizen Day. Any senior citizens in the audience? I'm just curious. Okay. No, I'm not a senior. Don't everybody raise your hand at once. All right, whereas National Senior Citizens Day is observed annually on August the 21st to recognize the achievements, the service, the wisdom, and the lasting contribution of, I'm gonna use the word seasoned adults throughout the United States. We'll edit this. Whereas the senior citizens of Dumfries have helped build the families, the neighborhoods, the institutions, our businesses, churches, our civic organizations, and traditions that form the foundation of our community. Through decades of work, sacrifice, military service, entrepreneurship, public service, caregiving, mentorship, faith, and volunteerism, senior residents have strengthened the town of Dumfries and created opportunities for future generations. And our seniors serve as living bridges between the town's history and its future, preserving important stories, lessons, customs, and values that should be shared with younger generations. And whereas the knowledge and experience of our seasoned adults remain essential to sound decision-making, strong families, effective leadership, and the continued development of healthy and connected community, where senior citizens continue to contribute as employees, business owners, volunteers, caregivers, educators, advocates, advisors, neighbors, and community leaders, whereas the town of Dumfries recognizes the importance of ensuring that older adults can remain active, respected, connected, safe, and engaged in community that they help build. And whereas honoring senior residents also requires continued attention to accessible transportation, housing, recreation, healthcare, public spaces, social connection, parking, and opportunities for meaningful civic participation. And whereas younger generations benefit when they listen to the experience of senior citizens, learn from the resilience, and recognize the progress that is built upon the work and sacrifice of those who came before them. Whereas the town of Dumfries is proud to recognize its senior citizens as legacy builders whose lives and contributions continue to shape the town of Dumfries. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Town Council of Dumfries do hereby proclaim August 21st as National Senior Citizen Day in the town of Dumfries. And in this year's theme is honoring the legacy builders of Dumfries. And we express the town's sincere appreciation to our senior citizens for their wisdom, their perseverance, their service, their leadership, and their enduring contributions to our community. We encourage all residents to spend time with our senior adults, listen to their stories, recognize their achievements, support the senior serving organizations, and ensure that Dumfries remains a community where every generation is valued and included. Signed by order of the Town Council, Mayor Derek R. Wood. We have all the seniors surrounding. Here you go. Where age you starting at? I don't know. What age is our seniors in?
When the AARP starts sending you.
What is AARP? You consider yourself a senior. If you consider yourself a senior, come on up for the senior citizen recognized. All I fit in front. Say don't look back. Yeah, people are 55. Come on.
Enjoyed the senior lunch.
Come on this side.
Oh, I'll get on this.
You 50? You said 50? Come on. Yeah, come on. Come on and say it.
Oh, he said the 50.
Oh, there you go.
He said the old people.
He said, okay. Now, who's the most senior in y'all spokesperson?
Thank you. Chair Pro Tem, you are Vice Mayor, you want to come over here?
Okay, here we go.
No, you're not going to ask that question.
No, I ain't asking who the old, who the elder, who the senior.
Glenn.
It's not.
It's not Glenn Washington.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
You know, we go back to
Me say I was not prepared for this, but he asked that I speak on behalf of the seniors. On behalf of the seniors in the town of Dumfries, we would like to thank you for this proclamation. I know, not speaking for myself, but speaking for all of the seniors who are not even here tonight, they definitely deserve this. They have done some awesome things to get us where we are in the town of Dumfries. They've always been there for us, given us advice, and I'm speaking of the seniors that are older than I am, and if you're older than I am, you're pretty old. So we'd like to thank you very much, the council and the mayor, for this proclamation. Thank you.
Next proclamation is for Women's Equality Day. Women's Equality Day is observed annually on August the 26th to commemorate the certification of the 19th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which was a historic milestone and it affirmed women's right to vote and to expand their participation in American civic life. Any women out here vote? Oh, look at all the women vote. That's good. Whereas progress represented by Women's Equality Day was achieved through generations of courage, sacrifice, advocacy, and perseverance by women who demanded the right to have a voice in a decision affecting their families, communities, and nation. Whereas the work of equality continues through their daily leadership, service, and civic participation of women who have helped shape public policy, strengthen institutions, support local businesses, mentor young people, and build healthier and more prosperous communities. Whereas the town of Dumfries benefits greatly from the women who volunteer their time, their professional experience, their knowledge and judgment while serving on the town's boards, commissions, committees, and the council. And whereas these women help review proposals, they guide planning and developing, they support economic growth, they preserve the town's history, they strengthen community programs, they advise elected officials, and they ensure that residents have a meaningful voice in local government. And whereas service on public boards and commissions often take place without great attention or recognition, yet these positions carry significant responsibility and directly influence the present and future of the town of Dumfries. Whereas the women serving Dumfries represents the power of civic participation and demonstrate that strong communities are built when residents are willing to step forward and share their talents and service a purpose greater than themselves. Whereas their presence and leadership also provides an important example to young women and girls, showing them that their voices matter, their ideas belong in public spaces, and their leadership is essential to the future of their community. Whereas the town of Dumfries is committed to creating a community in which women have meaningful opportunities to participate, to lead, to influence decisions, to pursue economic opportunity, and to contribute fully to civic and community pride. Whereas Women's Equality Day provides an appropriate occasion to honor the women who help expand the rights of future generations and to recognize the women who continue that legacy through service to Greater Dumfries. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Town Council of Dumfries do proclaim August 26 as Women Equality Day in the town of Dumfries under this year's theme, Honoring the Women Who Serve Dumfries. And we proudly recognize the women serving the town's boards, commissions, committees, and authorities for their leadership, their dedication, and commitment to the people of the future of Dumfries. We further encourage residents to thank these women for their service, support their continued advancement of women in civic leadership, and inspire more women and girls to bring their voices and talents and perspectives into public service. Signed by order of the Town Council, Mayor Derek R. Wood. And we'll have our clerk read the names of all the women who serve the town of Dumfries. And you'll just join us up front as she calls your name.
Okay, so for our boards and commissions, we have Ebony Lofton, Niecy Rose McDaniel, Monique Wood. From the directors of the town of Dumfries, we have Tasia Washington, Tiffany Johnson, our town manager, Tangela Ennis, myself, Nikesha Lucas, and then also from council, we have Councilwoman Katrina Peterson, Chair Pro Tem Salonia Miles, and Vice Mayor Monet Nickerson. And we also have from our staff, Ms. Ayana Thurston and Abigail Cheritich.
You gonna be a big hit.
And also, we have our town attorney, but she isn't present, and that is Ms. Sandra Robinson, just for the record.
This one is equality. Okay. Did we squeeze them all in?
Have to come close to me.
I might have to turn a little sideways.
That'd be good.
I give it up for all these women who serve the town of Dumfries. This is a record number of women serving in positions of leadership in the town of Dumfries and boards and commissions. So,
1, 2, 3. Say cheese on cheese. 1, 2. All right.
they're just the ladies. Let me get out.
1, 2, 3. 6 Mile, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. We have one special one. Women's Equality Day honoring Dr. Latanya D. McDade. It's a proclamation for her. And Dr. Latanya McDade made history in 2021 here when she became the first woman and first African American to serve as superintendent of Prince William County Public Schools. Her appointment represented an important milestone for women in educational leadership, and it demonstrated to women and girls throughout Greater Dumfries that their voices, their abilities, and their leadership belong at the highest levels of public service. Dr. McDade leads one of the largest and most diverse school divisions in the Commonwealth of Virginia, serving approximately 90,000 students, including children and families throughout the town of Dumfries community. Throughout her leadership, Prince William County Public Schools has advanced student achievement, career readiness, educational opportunities, student well-being, and long-term planning for the future of public education. Dr. McDade has championed efforts to prepare students for college, careers, military service, entrepreneurship, and civic leadership while working to ensure that every student has the opportunity to build a thriving future. Her professional journey from educator to superintendent reflects the power of preparation, perseverance, service, and leadership, and serves as an example to young women and girls who aspire to lead schools, institutions, business, governments, and communities. Whereas the town of Dumfries recognizes that women's equality is strengthened when women are empowered, not merely to participate, but to lead, to make decisions, to manage institutions, and shape the systems that affect future generations. Whereas Dr. McDade's historic leadership and commitment to educational excellence embodies the spirit of Women's Equality Day and the town's theme of honoring the women who are building Greater Dumfries. Now, therefore, it be it proclaimed that the town of Dumfries do hereby recognize and honor Dr. Latanya D. McDade during the town's observation of Women's Equality Day for her historic leadership, distinguished service, commitment to expanding education opportunities for the students and families of Prince William County and Greater Dumfries. We further commend Dr. McDade for breaking barriers, for opening doors, for strengthening public education, and inspiring women and girls to recognize their voices, their talents, and their leadership are essential to the future of our community. Signed by order of the Town Council, Mayor Derek R. Wood. Come to represent the Dr. McDade.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Wood, members of the Town Council, distinguished guests, and members of Dumfries community. I am Dr. Sharmel Atkins, and I serve as the Chief Equity Officer for Prince William County Public Schools. It is truly an honor to be here with you this evening on behalf of our Superintendent, Dr. Latanya D. McDade. While she is unable to join us tonight due to her commitment to the PWCS Leadership Summit, she asked me to express her heartfelt gratitude for this incredible recognition. Dr. McDade is deeply honored to receive this proclamation as part of this Women's Equality Day celebration. She has always believed that leadership is not about breaking barriers for the sake of making history, but about opening doors so that others can walk through them with confidence, purpose, and opportunity. As the first woman and first African American to serve as superintendent for Prince William County Public Schools, Dr. McDade recognizes the significance of that milestone. However, she would also be the first to tell you that her greatest accomplishment is helping ensure she won't be the last. Every day in our schools, we see young women whose talents, intelligence, and creativity and determination shape the future of Prince William County and communities like Dumfries. They deserve to see leaders who reflect what is possible and who remind them that their voices matter. Their dreams are achievable, and their leadership is needed. On behalf of Dr. McDade and all of Prince William County Public Schools, thank you for recognizing the importance of women's leadership and for celebrating those who continue to make Greater Dumfries stronger through service, collaboration, and a commitment to uplifting others. We are grateful for our partnership with the town of Dumfries and for your shared dedication to creating opportunities for every student and every family to thrive. Thank you again for this meaningful honor. Dr. McDade is sincerely appreciative, and it is my privilege to accept this proclamation on her behalf. Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is the approval of the July 7th Town Council meeting minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes from July 7th.
Second.
Second.
Okay, has been motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Peak?
Yes.
Councilman Young?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Miles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson?
Yes.
Mayor Wood?
Yes.
That motion has passed.
Okay. Next on the agenda, are there any citizens signed up for citizen comment time?
Yes, we have 2 citizens that signed up. The first person is Tyrone Brown.
Good evening, Council. Tyrone Brown, 17598 Duke Street. So, normally when I come, I have a good thing to say, and I have a bad thing to say, and I have a good thing to say. Today, I'm disappointed. Almost 6 years ago, when I served on the council, I made my position clear that I did not support building office spaces for council here in the building, for several reasons. I thought it was not efficient use of taxpayers' money. I didn't think the usage would be used to support the town. Most of the staff or the council were full-time employees outside of their duty as council. So I didn't see that made sense to me. And why am I bringing that up right now? Because here recently, there was a video that was made in this chamber, this building, that is not authorized ethically by a council member. And if you're on council, you should be aware of this video. And I haven't heard anyone say anything about it, make any statements about it. But it's unethical, and it should be reported to the state. That's how bad this is. It's clear. It's clear that this was unethical, and no one said anything. So it makes you complicit by sitting beside someone that you know that they've done something wrong and you didn't correct it. So you have options tonight. You can address it. You have a code of ethics that was put in place when I was on council. You can use that. Or you can be on Fox News. Just 2 days ago, someone in another state did the same thing. They was on their local news channel. So I encourage the council to address this issue. And with that being said, good job on Juneteenth. Great turnout. You guys are doing a lot of good things. And just because I come here and I'm holding you accountable, there's a lot of things that I see that you're doing that's good. But you need to be held accountable, and you need to be responsible for your position. And with that, I'm done.
Madam Clerk?
The next speaker is Christy Barcalow.
Good evening, Mayor Wood and members of the Dumfries Town Council. My name is Chrissy Barkalow, and I am the president of Historic Dumfries, Virginia Incorporated, and I'm here today to address an urgent matter regarding the funding of the Weems-Botts Museum and the broader mission of our organization. As you may know, Historic Dumfries, Virginia did not receive the $50,000 Community Partners Grant from Prince William County this year, and the town of Dumfries has reduced our funding to $10,000. This drastic cut leaves us without sufficient resources to operate the Weems-Botts Museum, a vital cultural and historical asset of our community. When our museum members learned about the grant situation, their reactions were heartfelt. One member expressed, "Maybe the town should help. They have money for everything." Another remarked, "I'm so sorry. I live in Fairfax County, but I deeply care about the museum and its programs." This clearly illustrates a collective sentiment that the town could step up to provide assistance during these challenging times. One member even suggested applying for a grant from the Rose to sustain our free field trip program for Prince William County students. We promptly submitted an application to the Rose's Growing Together program. However, we won't receive a response until October. I would like to inquire about the $7 million allocated by the Virginia State budget for the Department of Housing and Community Development, specifically targeting projects in Dumfries. The funding is intended to support the redevelopment of the U.S. Route 1 corridor, pedestrian safety upgrades, placemaking, and importantly, historic preservation, an element that aligns with the mission of Historic Dumfries. I have submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to the town for details regarding the state appropriation of this $7 million, and am currently awaiting an estimate from the town for the cost of this information. The information is not free. Will HDBI benefit from this funding? How can we ensure that the Williams-Botts Museum plays a significant role in the historic preservation initiative? Tonight, you will hear the results from the recent branding survey conducted by Chandler Thinks. They will reveal that our town is recognized for its rich historic heritage, specifically as Virginia's oldest continuously chartered town. This historical significance serves as a fundamental element of our identity, and as stated in the survey results, it differentiates us from neighboring communities. However, the survey also indicates that many residents are not strong advocates for Dumfries as a place to visit or do business. The Weems-Botts Museum is not only a crucial part of our heritage, but also a potential driver of tourism and community engagement. It embodies a small town charm and diverse cultural identity that residents cherish. The survey highlights the residents' appreciation of community events and family-oriented activities. The Weems-Botts Museum plays a pivotal role in hosting such gatherings, fostering community pride, and providing educational opportunities. Yet without adequate funding, we risk losing these unique assets that can enrich our town's appeal and contribute to its revitalization. Thank you.
Thank you. Your comments are part of the public record, and where follow-up is appropriate, the matter will be referred to the town manager. Next is mayor and council comments. Okay. All right, Councilman Fields.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Wow, I'm glad that everyone is out tonight. We had a lot of recognitions going on. I want to thank the town staff for this wonderful past month of July and all the events that we had going on, the concerts and everything, and the National Night Out, and for the kids, the backpack drive and everything. It's been great. We got more to come. Stay tuned. Stay tuned, stay tuned. Next weekend, we got another summer concert, series concert coming up. And the weekend after that, I personally, as Councilman Fields, is throwing everyone knows I love cars and motorcycles, so I'm throwing a big car show here right at the park. So I hope y'all come out and bring your cars, bring your motorcycles, and ride with me. So it's going to be a great time. Also, I would like to address the concern that was just brought up. I stand on business, I stand on integrity, and I will take that responsibility of the one who made that video. Forgetting or unaware at the time, I did so. But I'm man enough to take responsibility for it, and it has been addressed by the staff and the council. So no more to be said about that. It is done. It was an error, and actions were taken, and it was done. That's all I'm going to say about that. Everyone have a good evening.
Councilman Young.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to add my sentiments as far as for the town staff doing an amazing job this summer so far, from Juneteenth up till now, with all of the events in which we've had. It's been great. It's been awesome. You guys have done a great job. Even though I wasn't present last night, I did hear that it was a great event for National Night Out. The backpack drive was awesome. We had a whole, it had a nice gathering of people that was there. It was really, really nice. The Doodle Day was also good. For the kids, Doodle Day was also great. I just want to tell everybody just to remain safe. This is the beginning of August, so summer days are still not over, so we still can encounter some hot days, and the weather may be, back and forth. So please remain safe and check on your neighbors. Thank you.
Councilman Pete.
Thank you there, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for everyone that's coming out, everyone that's paying attention. I do want to keep in reminders as I'm concerned about these hot weathers that we are in right now. Now, I'm just going to encourage and ask everyone that we stay hydrated. If you don't need to, don't come out in this heat. We're about to, they say tomorrow we're even going up to 95, 96, things like that. So do check on your neighbors, your seniors, make sure that we're good in that arena. Town manager, staff, I want to say thank you for looking into the EB Drive and cleaning that channel up to make sure that everything's flowing there. Just to give the Prince William Estates community an update as far as EB Drive are going. The town staff and manager has been periodically going over there and checking on things and making sure that we're moving in the right direction as far as making sure that water flow is flowing in the right, without any blockers or things like that. We're still in the process of monitoring and moving it forward, but they have been working on it and making improvements there. So again, town manager and staff, thank you for that as well. As we're going into our back to school, be mindful that our children are still at play. They're running in and out of these cars still, everyone. So let's be mindful that our children are at play. I'm going to challenge the children and the parents this week. We got 7 days. Challenge them to a book this week, see if you can knock out a book in 7 days. It's a little fun thing to do at home as we begin to sharpen our pencils, more so our brains, and getting ourselves ready for these 9 months coming up for our educationals. With that, Mr. Mayor, one more thing. If you have time, if you're watching, we have our movie night going on at Merchants Park this evening at 8:30. If you can get out, the town of Dumfries hosting Jurassic World, if I'm not mistaken. That's Jurassic World this evening at Merchants Park. Come on out there, lawn chairs. You know how we do. Relax yourselves. Let's let these kiddos enjoy themselves. And again, town manager and staff, amazing job that you all have been doing with these, and I call them historical. Christy, I'm glad you're up here because we always talking that word historical here in Dumfries, and a lot of the things, guys, that we do are historical. If you could ever be a part of what we're doing here, you're being a part of history that's being made here in the town of Dumfries to be talked about long down the road. You'll be able to talk about some of these things that we're doing here. So again, with that, stay tuned. You can tune into Dumfries Citizens Connect app in the notifications block and tune into that and keep up with everything that we're doing here in the town. Thank you, town manager. Thank you, citizens, for watching. And everyone, let's have a safe and enjoyable summer. Thank you.
Councilwoman Peterson.
First, I want to thank everyone that came out to my 4th, I believe it is, backpack drive. I want to apologize. There was a small hiccup, and I want to apologize. I want to let everyone know that the next one, we will fix it and make sure everything is better. Then I want to thank everyone for coming out to the concert series. I had a ball. I don't know if you did, but I danced my life away. The next day, my legs was hurting and everything else. So I'm not 55 yet, but I think I felt it. But enjoy the summer. There's another one coming out this weekend. Hopefully someone can teach me how to do this Latin dance because I don't know that dance, but I'm going to know it by this weekend. But thank you and have a good summer.
Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I would like to thank everyone for coming out this night, whether you're watching at home or you're in here in person. We appreciate you. tuning in and finding out what's going on in this town. I would like to recognize the tremendous success of last night's National Night Out. It was wonderful to see the community come together in such a positive environment. And times like that remind us that when the community comes together, that's when we're at our best. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our town staff, our first responders, and volunteers who continue to serve our community with professionalism and dedication. Your hard work doesn't go unnoticed, and it goes into making Dumfries the crown jewel that it is. As we are still in summer, just to echo some of my colleagues, we are dealing with some extreme heat. We're still in the middle of a heat wave. We want to make sure we check on our seasoned members of the community or people that don't have access to transportation. We just want to be what Dumfries is and keep looking out for our neighbors. And with that, I will yield back.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Good evening. First, I do want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues in celebrating and acknowledging the magic behind the curtain, which is the staff, for the great events that you all have put on this summer, keeping us all engaged and entertained. Thank you for that. I also want to thank everybody who came out yesterday evening to support National Night Out. It was a great opportunity for us to connect with each other, get to know each other, and spend time together, because when we are able to do that as a community, it makes the community stronger. As it's been said, August is Black Business Month, and I encourage everyone to intentionally support Black business owners in our community, not just for the month, but do so intentionally throughout the year. As it's been said, those dollars are recycled back into our communities, and it's important. Small businesses especially are a very important part of our local economy, and when we choose to shop locally, those dollars come back into the community. Finally, as families prepare to go back to school, I want to tell everyone that I wish you all a great school year, students, staff, families, parents. I just wish everyone has a successful school year. And with that, I yield. Thank you.
Good evening, Dumfries. I want to begin again by thanking everybody who attended the National Night Out. It was good seeing those families, the neighbors, our police officers, the first responders, all of our community partners, and the town staff spending time together outside of an emergency crisis. You know, public safety is not built by uniforms alone. It's built through relationships. It grows when neighbors know one another, when residents trust the people who serve them, and when we care enough to look out for each other. Last night reminded us that strong community is not only protected, a strong community is connected. Also want to thank every staff member, the volunteers, and the partners who helped make the evening possible. The public sees the event, but often does not see the planning. They don't see the setup. They don't see the coordination. They don't see the long hours behind it. And so we appreciate everyone who continues showing up for the town of Dumfries. That same spirit of showing up, we hope it continues this Saturday morning. I said morning. For our biannual community cleanup. All right, so we hope to see everybody Saturday morning here for our biannual community cleanup. I'm encouraging residents, families, organizations, young people to come out and help us take care and clean up this place that we call home. Cleaner Dumfries is not just about appearance. It's about pride, public health, safety, and respect for our neighbors. So it's easy to point out what needs to be improved, but leadership begins when we're all willing to roll up our sleeves and become part of the improvement. And after the cleanup, we'll have our summer concert right here in Garrison Park that night. I'm not going to name the band, but just bring your family, bring your chairs, bring your dancing shoes, and we'll create another opportunity for you just to come out, relax, enjoy yourself, and get to meet your neighbors. These events, I just want to say, they're more than just entertainment for us. They create memories, they support local vendors and the businesses, they continue to strengthen community pride. They show the visitors that Dumfries is becoming a place that people actually drive to and not simply a place that people are just driving through. This week, we welcome to town, so many of you may or may not know, we had Congressman Eugene Vindman and Delegate Margaret Franken, and we took them over to Quantico Creek near Batestown Road. And we invited them because the work that's happening there is bigger than a lot of the construction project. Many of you have driven down Batestown Road, you see the trees, you see the work going on, and you've been asking the questions. And so restoring Quantico Creek will require strong local, state, and stronger federal partnerships to finish that project. And so what you're seeing is more than creek construction. We are starting to stabilize Quantico Creek. We're improving the water quality. We're strengthening the flood resilience. Part of what you see us protecting the floods in Prince William Estates and making sure that the water has a way so that it can flow. And we're laying the foundation for the future, for trail access and eventually the future of Dumfries waterfront further downstream. So that's what you're seeing on Batestown Road and Quantico Creek. You're seeing the upward mobility of that. This is also so we're not simply repairing the creek bank, we're restoring the natural asset. We're protecting the surrounding community from a lot of the erosion that was happening as well, people who were losing their fences and trees and stuff. And we're preparing this area to really serve future generations. So as you've heard from many of my colleagues, this is also an important time for our family as students, teachers, school employees. They all are starting to prepare back to school, some crying, some excited, some kicking and screaming, but they're all preparing for this time to either get their refrigerators back or to get their houses back and to get these kids back to school. So I want to give a message to our students. I want to say your town believes in you. Walk into the new school year ready to learn, ready to grow. Make sure you ask a lot of questions because the best lessons come from your questions. And remember to discover what's possible in your life. To our teachers and our administrators, to the bus drivers, to the cafeteria workers, to the custodians, to the counselors, and all the support staff in the school system. We say thank you. You're simply not preparing classrooms, you're preparing the next generation. And so we appreciate you. And to the parents, to the caregivers, give yourselves and your children some patience as everyone is going to be adjusting to these new schedules, new expectations, and new opportunities. Give the bus drivers grace, give the teachers grace, give everybody a little bit of grace as school begins to start. You know, the beginning of the school year can get a little tense for a lot of people. All right, so as we move through these final weeks of the summer, I want to encourage everybody just to continue to stay involved. Make sure you download the Dumfries Citizen Connect. Make sure you watch all of our social media. Make sure you join the cleanup. Make sure you support the local businesses. Make sure you attend the concert. Continue to encourage our students. Thank a teacher. Check on your seniors. And continue to be an ambassador for the town of Dumfries. And here's something to chew on as I close. A strong community is not built by the people who simply live there. It's built by the people who take responsibility for what happens there. Every time we show up, every time we serve, encourage and take pride in our town, we make Dumfries stronger. Thank you, Dumfries family. Let's continue moving Dumfries from a place that's overlooked to a place that becomes unforgettable. Next on our agenda is our reports and presentation. And we're going to start with our first report on our townwide branding presentation from Chandler. Thanks.
All right, I'll try to be swift through this. Nice to be back again. Nice to see all of you all again. Put these back on. Okie dokie. All right. I'm going to give you a report. That's about it's intended to be a 360-degree view of Dumfries from a lot of different perspectives. Started with you all, actually. I interviewed, I hope most of all of you, but also members of the community. People showed up here. We had some group discussions. We had a public listening and learning meeting, community surveys, and then outside of Dumfries. So it's a lot of different perspectives. The quick answer, collectively, we heard a little bit about it. Dumfries is valued for its historic significance, particularly within the community. It is a point of pride, no doubt about it. I think the very first thing I told you all whenever I came, right, the oldest charter town, right? You're welcoming small town feel. There is you all do love your events. Right? You all being the residents of this community, it brings people together. It's very important. Cultural diversity is highly valued. You can see that even tonight, the importance placed on that. Your location is an incredible strategic asset that'll come play, I think, even in some of the other consultants you're working with. And there's a lot of positive momentum. I was probably what I'm most optimistic about with the branding project. The number one thing is I was a little concerned. There's a lot going on. And historically, when I've worked with communities, there's a lot going on. People are like, come on, I'm tired of the orange cones and things like that. Overall, it was much higher sentiment than we expected. People are understanding we're going someplace, and we're a part of it now. We are not going to look the way we look now, and we get it. And we might even be a little imperfect as far as aesthetics as it goes right now, but we know what's ahead. And I thought that was very optimistic and very positive and encouraging. And then lastly, I know I even had pretty intense conversation with one of you. I'm not real sure exactly. I don't remember exactly which one, but you're right. There are some outdated perceptions out there of Dumfries. It makes sense. You've been moving fast, and for the most part, most people only keep up with your name when it's in the news, if they even see that. So you're moving faster than people identify with you. That means we have some work to do when it comes to branding and getting our message out there, because there are a few things lingering out there, right? So we have to address that too. Okay, that being said, let me go quickly. I won't go on all these things, but I wanted to show you a little bit of data to back up what I just told you, right? We asked people 1 to 10, rate Dumfries as a place to live, visit, and relocate a business. I'd show you the bar is 8. All right. If you own a hamburger shop and someone said, "Hey, how'd you like my hamburger?" and they went, "It was okay," you would not be happy as a hamburger owner. You want them to go, "That's great. That's fantastic." That's going to be an 8 or higher. Okay. So average is not good on these scales with these types of questions. You're not poor in this place, but definitely we do not have advocates, and our goal should be to create advocates. I think this is important to measure of the days ahead. I don't have time to go over all this, but quickly, based on what I just explained, you can see the impact of how people are rating. A lot of the things in our community are very, very, very low. Now, you know this. That's why a lot of these things are directly related to some of the plans going on, right? And same thing as you can see on this slide. So a lot of the ratings and how we see ourselves, and this is the community rating itself, how we see ourselves, you know, it's not where it needs to be, right? Again, we're working on a lot of things right now, and our plans do that. In fact, we did a personality scale. Most of you all took it if you participated in the research. We had a personality scale, and it's designed so you're either one or the other, right? Either young or you're old. We're for the most part down the middle on almost everything, right? We don't know exactly, we're not really strong identity on either one way or another. We're just kind of in the middle. That corresponds with a lot of what we learned in the research, particularly within the community. We don't really have a strong identity now. We have some pride. We have some things that we're proud of and that can bind us together, but we don't feel like we have a strong identity, and this actually demonstrates that a bit. Some descriptors of Dumfries real quick, 2 or 3 words that uniquely describe the town of Dumfries. Basically, historic, diverse, small town, embracing the growth for sure. whenever we ask, aside from its people, what makes Dumfries more appealing than other places in the DC area, again, authentic history, cultural diversity, small town character. If you look at the verbatims of the community survey where this came from, you'll see that very high volume, actually. And emerging opportunities. Again, people see where you're taking the community. What is shaping Dumfries today? We asked the question, what are the most notable assets that shapes Dumfries into what it is today? You're going to get, here you go, the festivals and community events are number one on this list. That's usually not the case, but here it is. It's bringing people together that like to do life with one another, and that's fantastic. You see diversity. Again, our location is pretty significant on here, right? We most iconic visual, surprise, it's the Rose. But more important than that is, I don't know. Right? Again, if you go through and look at the reason, I'm not real sure what we look like. We don't really have that. I think that's important. This is an opportunity to engage public art, by the way, not just in what we look like with new retail that's coming or waterfront possibilities that are there, but art can play a significant role in this. And so I just encourage you to do that and to look for those things. Confidence in the future of Dumfries. We ask, how confident are you that the town will be a better place to live in the future than it is today? Right? Look at that. By the way, I look at somewhat confident, very confident. What is that? Do my math real quick. 70, 80, 84, 83%. That's pretty good. With all that's going on, with the ratings that I just showed you, as low as it is, I would expect this to be something different of a story. What that means is the importance of, and it also means a little bit of good job, I guess, that you've been sharing with people what's going on. And they're buying into what's ahead more so than complaining about today. It doesn't mean that they don't have a right. We all want to look great every day, right? But I think that's important. You have some long-term projects ahead. So I think it's imperative that you continue that, right? And with little short wins of encouragement, if you can, along the way. All right? How do you feel about the direction of town of Dumfries for the next 3 to 5 years? Good job. Obviously, you're rated very high here. Biggest challenges that keeps us from being better than it already is. Perception. You're concerned about that, right? This is what you all, your community was concerned. Said, we do have some perception issues about us out there. And I think that's super, super important. And then actively managing our reputation. We ask, is this important? Is it important for the town of Dumfries to manage their reputation, their community brand? Look at this. Boom. Heck yeah. Absolutely. This is super important. We try to tap into pride when it comes to this little exercise that I need to run through, really. But I can tell you what makes us prominent, our history, right? And Quantico. Residents love the small town feel of Dumfries. The Rose is the one activity everyone says you need to go do. I've had 3 or 4 occasions myself, someone asked to meet for coffee or to meet for dinner, and every time they're like, let's meet at the Rose, let's meet at the Rose. Your small town character is important, and of course, being approachable is very important, okay? I've got to move through this. I want to make a quick point. We're going to make some very specific recommendation to your communication team. We had a pretty detailed audit that I'll save them the embarrassment of reeling them through there here. But what I'll say is we do have some work to do on branding, not just figuring out what we look like and what our story is, but consistency is going to be important. That means everyone that does it. Any communications on behalf of the town of Dumfries must look no different than if it was any communications for Target. Right? There's uniformity and consistency. There is no, so having a process and our brand guidelines that we're going to develop will allow you to do that. So everyone, if you're official, has to go through the same channel, and having consistency in all that we do is super, super important, okay? And I have to move forward, but I will say the outside perceptions of Dumfries are stronger than your own perceptions, by the way. All right. And these are just some outside perception things. People know you're growing, but we really lack in being visually appealing. We know that. That hurts. But I want to encourage you, branding is not about a logo and a tagline, folks. They're important tools for the municipality to have, but what you look like matters when it comes to a place, right? When people enter the community, welcome signs and streetscapes and landscapes all matter, okay? So that's super, super important for us. I have to roll because I want you to know where we land, and this is where we're going to take what's next, okay? I know I got 8 seconds. I'm about done, I promise, right? We call them brand truths. As we move forward in the branding of Dumfries, we have to acknowledge this. This will be a part of your brand. Dumfries' identity is in a direct contrast to the energy, aesthetics, flow, and a celebration of what the town of Dumfries is becoming and what lies ahead. Your story began with Quantico Creek and its distinction as Virginia's oldest charter town, yet lacks historical assets today. Don't have a lot of. You expect more of them. You got Ween's Bots House. That's about it. The character of Dumfries matters to residents. This community, slower pace, genuine hometown feel. We're going to grow, but let's maintain this. That means gathering spots, people to get together and hug one another and do things like that are very important in this community, okay? So what are we going to do about it? And this is where we're taking it. The next time I'm in front of you all, we're going to be starting the storytelling process that's based on this. We're going to position Dumfries as a town evolving with intention. It was purposeful. It was planned. Honoring its heritage while embracing a vibrant and exciting future ahead, right? We're going to be moving forward, but we're going to make sure that we honor where we came from and what makes us special in everything that we do. And that could be in art, it could be in new retail development. So we're excited to move forward with the next part of the process. And I don't know if there's questions now, but I can take them if there are any.
Okay, Council, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for the information. It's kind of shocking, the part where you talked about the outside perspective is more positive than the inside. But then again, I know just even as humans, we are typically our own worst critic. And that's because we know what we want to see be better. So while it was a little bit shocking, I get it. And I'm actually okay with that, because so long as we don't walk around thinking that we're perfect, then we're always striving to get better. So I'm okay with that. What I need to understand is, when this branding effort is complete, how will we measure the success of it? How will we know that the effort that has been put into these surveys and capturing this information in order to give us a way forward with our branding efforts, how will we know it's successful, and when will we actually take that measurement?
Absolutely. Great question. First of all, there are a lot of benchmarks that you saw today, and there's official all of research that was done. There will be official reports for each piece of research, by the way. Couldn't put it all on this deck. But there's a lot of benchmarks. Our attitude, how we feel about ourselves, I would say are the most important benchmarks. They're not the benchmarks that usually we hold a community accountable for. We're looking for sales receipts and relocations and talent attraction, and who wouldn't? That's what we're right. And our property taxes staying low and our property values going up, right? That's what we want in our community. So ultimately, that's the goal. But communities people feeling good about themselves, being positive, being advocates for their community, that has to come first, or the latter will not happen. So I will tell you that's why I've emphasized this today, right? So those benchmarks need to continue to be measured as you're evolving, especially with the projects that you have over the years. Then you should see a number of participants. And I mean engagement of the community, being involved. Now, we're a small community, which means we have to work a little harder to get our numbers up of being involved, right? But we need more people in the community. You need more people in your community being involved. I think that's a super important measure. Number of businesses coming to town. So now all of a sudden this project is going to should affect retail. It should affect your waterfront project, right? Because now you have a story to tell, right? And having a great story is the difference from being emotionless and being a place that people get excited about. So that's the feel-good stuff, but that's what the emotional part is what branding does that applies to the functional projects of a waterfront or a retail or roadways. It applies to every functional project that you're working on.
Councilman Fields.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that presentation. You know, sometimes a little bit of sting hurts, but it's the truth. It's the brutal, honest truth. And I think that's what we need to know going forward. Something I've been talking about for a long time. We can't forget our Old Town feeling and our Old Town heritage there. So it's good that those things are pointed out in your report. I'm happy to hear what's going to come in the future with your next report. Like I said, I don't think you left any stone unturned, and I appreciate that very much, the enthusiasm behind what we can do and what we can be. I really appreciate that, and taking note of where the numbers are low. That's important. Like I said, the truth hurts, and it doesn't have to. It can be a little sting, but we know we can do better, and that's what we're striving for. I'm glad you're pointing these things out. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank you for the work that went into this. I know I was one of the council members you had a pretty spirited back and forth with during our meeting.
Well, that was you?
That was me. And I want you to know, I had when I saw that you would be on the agenda tonight, I couldn't wait to read this report because I was going to we were going to get into it. But after I read the report, I couldn't. So I'm definitely pleased. I'm excited about the opportunity that this presents, and just want to acknowledge the work that went into it.
Thank you very much.
Just want to say your research has validated Destination Dumfries, but it also says that we can't market our way around a weak place experience. And so looking at it, I see the real work being that I think we're already prepared in our budget with all of these small area plans that's going, better gateways and streetscapes, right? More restaurants and retail. We're looking at a visual identifier that identifies us, and the consistent storytelling. The question, as I sit here and as I chew on it, as I go through these reports, is from your standpoint, what would be the clearest market position that we can take as a town, that something that we can own that no nearby town or area around here can easily copy? How do we do that?
I'm going to let that be a rhetorical question for now and let us do the work. But I think but I love that, because being me too is not why you hired us.
Right.
Right? There's a lot of places that are new and shiny. Not many people have some of the things that you can grab a hold of. So I say we lean into them and make them as new and progressive as we want, but without letting go of them. Right? Just to give you, I think where we see you've got a few things that you can hold on to, and that's probably where we need to go.
Yeah, the biggest thing is I don't think that none of us wants one big thing on top of the hill to be the only visual identity that people identify the town with. So we don't want one single business to become the dominant identifier of this town. And so we look forward to your next report and the storyteller. And yes, it was kind of rhetorical, but I want to make sure that we are getting the way. It's good to see that people are identifying the roles, but when they think about the brand, we're looking forward to just seeing that come through. So thank you. Looking forward to seeing the implementation, the performance measures, and the story that comes out of this. So continue the good work. Oh, Councilman Pete.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say thank you for the presentation. Listening to what my fellow council members have said, I'm pretty much on the same page as they are. And I got a question for you, putting kind of all of this together in a real quick spin. When you said history, right? It rung a bell to me. And then you made a statement of pretty much the only historical thing that we have in this town to look at was the Williams-Bott Museum. So another rhetorical question, right, that you can go back and do some work with if need be, is if we can identify something else that can be keyed in as a identifier as historically, even if that's getting with Miss Christie and the team and over there to see what else historical can we mark out of this town, because as we're moving forward, we also hear, let's not lose the, I heard you, let's not lose the small town feeling, the historical Dumfries feeling in that sense as well. So if you could present that to us of what you guys deemed as what's marketable to attraction, then that goes back to what's marketable of attraction that is offset complementary to the National Harbor, to the Alexandria waterfront, and to also the Washington District, the District of the Columbia, Washington, D.C. waterfront as well. Those things right there are us included, are the 4 keys that are coming up off of the water. What makes us different? What makes us draw? What makes the town of Dumfries stand out? Our citizens and our council and our town manager and staff, we're doing it. But from you guys, in being that we're looking for you all to brand the town of Dumfries, what does that look like when you come back to us in a higher scale? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you all very much.
All right, next we're going to have our retail consultant report to come on up.
It's right here. I can go very quickly on this.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for having us back. We'll do very quick. We've gone and done some work on retail analysis, and we're here to report back on that. The team, oh, I'm sorry. There we go. I'm Peter Angelides from the eConsult Solutions. Catherine Dipko, Myrtle Company.
You met me on the virtual call.
And it is a pleasure to be back here. What were we doing? What were we tasked to do ultimately? And that's to help you sort of conceptualize and think through what we need to do to advance the retail game. We heard just a few minutes ago about the branding, about the relatively underperforming retail, what can be done about that. And it doesn't just happen like that overnight. It's a long process. And what we're doing is taking you down that road. So we're gathering data and we're analyzing and looking through it. So what do you have? What are some of the data? And Catherine will present that in a few minutes. How do we do your market position? And then how do we start to talk to brokers and people who are in the retail world to tell Dumfries' story? So we need to develop the story, and then we need to tell it, we need to contact folks, and we need to prepare the kinds of information that they're expecting to see, because they have a way of doing things and they're looking for particular information. That's what we're helping develop for you. Now turn to Catherine.
I think I have the right one. Okay. So we have done a lot of research. We've looked at demos. We've looked at retail spending. We've looked at real estate patterns. We have looked at potential. And one of the first things we did, and I walked you through this on that one virtual meeting we had, is we defined the trade area. And what we've done, we also did a SWOT. So what in some of the slides were showing just the strengths and the opportunities. We've decided to keep the challenges out. We're going to address them. But we built your trade areas. And again, part of it is because this is what retailers need. And in doing that, we decided to use drive times. It's a 5, 10, and 20-minute drive time. And key about that is we encapsulated the Potomac Shores North, because we thought that was key. And we've addressed the issue of you've got 95, you've got Quantico down here, and then you've got the park. So it kind of becomes barriers. So we adjusted it around that. And this is just a snapshot of the data. You have in your deck, I believe, and Reggie confirmed that they have the 2-pager. So we're starting to build marketing tools to get the message out. Messages that brokers and retailers want. So one of the things we did is we looked at spending patterns amongst the retail categories we know are priority. And what was nice is Steve shared some of the original research on the survey, so we know that we're in alignment of what the priorities are for the town. And you can see how Dumfries, this is household spending on an annual basis, and really it starts to change at the 10-minute and 20-minute drive time. And the other thing is looking at spending potential. Right there, it's the bottom line. Dumfries is benchmarking lower. 100 is the national average. And what we've realized, that's not necessarily a bad thing, so we probably won't be using the SPI in public presentations. What that is partly, it's based on how households in this market are spending. You've got a lot of local businesses. They tend to be priced lower than, let's say, businesses in Georgetown or businesses at Tyson's. So the benchmarking. So a little bit lower. But we drilled down, and one of the things we looked at for this presentation was we drilled into food and beverage, both food at home and food away from home. Food at home is your groceries. And what we looked at is what's the potential spending in the market. Key right now is looking at the Dumfries marketplace, and we're going to kind of go through some of these slides a little bit. So, and this is Dumfries Dining. If you just look at Dumfries itself, at the spending power at the town, projecting 5 years out, we think you could handle 1 or 2 new full-service, fast casual, family-style restaurants. However, if you start to look at the trade areas, you could actually accommodate quite a bit more. But in the beginning, if you're just looking at the Dumfries itself, your spending growth is limited to 1 or 2. And one of the challenges you have is you don't have a lot of space to put a restaurant in right now. You've got a couple spaces. There's 2 that we've discovered that are vacant. There's one that may be going out of business. We're not sure. We're trying to verify it. That's a restaurant. The other key thing is looking at grocery. And again, looking at the growth opportunity. And we looked back. We have a data that shows what a typical grocer would do if it's a full service or an Aldi or a Trader Joe's. So we kind of understand what's the potential. This potential grocery site that you've got that we're assuming will be approved, that will handle the local demand just in the town within the first 5 years. As the town grows, as opportunities grow, and as the region starts to get limited on where else you can get a grocery store, small area plan, open up other development sites, there's an opportunity for additional grocers. But this one is key. And as Steve was talking about, part of telling the story is telling the story of this. And we also drilled into what's called a segmentation analysis. You can't see the title. This is kind of the nuances that tenants will look at to understand. And I never really thought they looked at this until the last couple of years when retail's become so competitive. They will look at these things. This is where the algorithms are done, looking at household makeup, household spending. It's where people spend, how they aggregate, where they go to school, where they play. And they build these profiles that retailers know. It's like the customer of Lululemon is different than the customer of REI, and they know that, and that's what these categories are. So we looked at the top 3. We've made comparisons so that when we're sitting down with a retailer or a broker, we can actually put this out and show how the town and how the trade area is benchmarked. And then one of the key things is we looked at the competition. We have pulled every leasing brochure in the region within the trade areas as well as in the Stafford and the Prince William marketplace. And there's a lot of competition. And when you look at this, almost every single brand is in this marketplace. Travel 20 minutes in any direction, a resident of Dumfries can get probably what they need. A couple brands that may not be, but the majority, you can find it. And the question is why? And I'm going to let Peter talk a little bit about this.
And many of them are not in Dumfries itself, but in the surrounding area. And when you look at the map, so this is a map of basically density, how many people live where. And Dumfries, a little hard to see, is the white well, sort of the very middle lower part, and then the white outline is the trade area. And what you see is that Dumfries is south of the major population density. The more population to the north, and then Dumfries itself on one side is basically parkland, the other side is relatively undeveloped land. So there's not as much population as in your immediate neighbors, which is what drives the retail to the neighboring communities instead of Dumfries. Population follows rooftops, or so retail follows rooftops. And this graphic shows something similar. It breaks it down by, on the left, sort of restaurants and groceries and then shopping centers, and Dumfries is outlined there. And what you see is there are all these things in Dumfries, but a lot more of them outside of Dumfries for exactly the reason we just saw, that the population is elsewhere, and that's where the retailers are tending to go. And another thing, so that's where the people live, but another aspect of it is where do they go, where do the stores go internally? If you want to go someplace, what's your store like? And this table compares Dumfries to stuff that's been built over the last 15 years, and I just want to highlight at the end the space, Class A, Class B, Class C. Class A is the sort of national tenant, regional chain quality space, and there isn't very much of that in Dumfries. And that's a real issue because mom and pop stores are very flexible. They can go into lots of spaces, but the brands that you're familiar with, they have very exacting standards about where they are willing to go. And there simply isn't the space for them right now that they would be willing to entertain. So that is an issue that, over time has to be addressed.
Yeah, and as we looked at the competitive landscape as well, and again, this is the opportunities that we see. You have a lot of really solid strengths and a lot of market opportunities. You've also got a lot of regional draws, and Quantico was one of the key ones, but then also, it's destinations like the Weems Bottom, it's the waterfront that's coming, it's the park. All of these will help to filter and to fuel, consumers coming to the market. But there's a lot of opportunities, and key, number one, is this grocery anchored site, if that gets approved. That is a key trigger for future development. And it's a full-service grocer, that we know just based on the side and based on the inline. It'll probably be, if not a national tenant, it'll be a regional tenant. That is going to change the dynamics of how other brokers will look at the town. Route 1 realignment, that is going to have a huge issue. That's going to have a phenomenal impact. Even the Potomac Shores Parkway, which opens up your markets to the west, it's going to make it so much easier to go east and west in this area. So for residents that live on the other side of 95 in that area, it's going to be a lot easier to get to. So we know there's a lot of attributes that way. And so I'm not going to read through this because it's just too much, but this just gives you our summary and conclusions. And there's a couple of key ones that I really want to talk about. And the biggest one is you want retail. You want certain types of retail. There really is no place to put them at the moment. You've got 2 vacancies of retail spaces. Neither of them are large enough to support some of the types of tenants you're looking at. And then there's 1 swing space that's available. And that could go either or based on the geography or the architecture, it's really not suitable. One of the other things, you have residential growth, which is positive. You have household growth. You have income growth. You've got density coming. You've got more residential. So there's a lot of positive things happening. But again, there are a couple challenges. And one of the other things we realized is when you're marketing the town, we really need to use the 5 and 10 minute trade area. That is more compelling than the town itself. So it's going to be focused on that. And this is the audience that we realize we have to be paying attention to. Top 2 categories are really our responsibility, and Reggie and I have gone through this. Consumers are really the town that's really getting out, building on what Steve is doing. And then the media is kind of joint. And I've already talked to the retail writer at the Business Journal. I told him about the site plan. I told him if it's approved, and he's like, yeah, let us know. This is something we'll do. Will not be front page, but he'll mention it, which helps to get Dumfries out there in the industry. And then these are some of the things that we think, some of the tasks, some of the strategies that have to happen. Key is selling that vision. Key is promoting any new development. It's promoting those small area plans and the development opportunity. But it's also promoting the richness of this town and the history that's built. That is part of telling the story of Dumfries. And as I was listening to his presentation, one of the things I'm realizing is we need to do a little bit of more research on how many black-owned businesses there are here. Maybe that's a different way to differentiate the town. It's a small town of, Dumfries has more black-owned businesses than any other community in the region. Things like that, but it's selling that, and it's selling that to the industry as well. So we also pulled out some of the tools that we're building. You've got the profile. We're working on the marketing deck. We're working on messaging. We have been reaching out to brokers. We're going to continue to do that. Continue to going to events such as ICSC. Reggie and I were at the one locally, and then I went to the national, and we got some feedback from you. I've met with some of those tenants that are there. So it's continuing to do that. But we also, these are some of the recommendations, and one of the things we realized is, and we're not picking on a center, I just happened to pick the Coach Center just because of the architecture, and I had a friend of mine who's an architect. I said, just kind of redesign it, spoof it up. Because again, one of the challenges is if you have a lot of Class B and C space. And again, C is easy. You're a startup, low rent, you can get in. You realize you're only going to be there for a year and a half. I build my customer base and then I move. But if you're looking for regional restaurant groups or national tenants, they have different requirements. But the other thing is, it's also your competition, the new development that's happening around you of retail centers. It's new architecture. It's different types of landscaping. The signage is different. And one of the things here is when you're in that center, center, you have to do this to look up and see who the tenant is. The windows are small, not ideal for a retailer. Retail, one of the biggest requirements is what's called frontage. It's the storefront. So he did this. He made their windows open. He dropped the sign band below the architectural arches, so it still kind of follows the protocol. An easy fix, if you will. Maybe not a cheap fix, but it's an easy fix. So one of the things we think, there's two buckets. One is marketing, and then the other is really building a retail toolbox for the town. Some of it is support services. You've got a number of resources. You've got the Black Chamber. You have the SBDCs here. Maybe it's working with some of those organizations to help your existing businesses and make certain that they're solid and they're stable and they're resilient, particularly with what's happening here. And then financial support, whether it's rent grants to small businesses that are going to be impacted by Route 1, facade renovation. One of the concerns we have is that the rent rolls on some of these projects are probably not enough to incentivize the owners to do major improvements. So we're building that toolbox. We're looking at different sources, looking at funding, and looking at different examples that have worked. And then just kind of a summary, these are some of the contacts we've already made. I'm not going to go through the brands and the names. We're giving a monthly update to Reggie that he can share with you, but because it is a public meeting, one of the things we never want to do is have set false expectations, so that we're not letting the community think, oh, we're getting a blah, blah, blah. I have talked to certain tenants, and I'll say Bojangles is a good one. That came back to us as a possibility. I met with them, and their comment to us was, there's no franchising in the market, so they can't commit. There's nobody to do it. And a couple other businesses like that, we've heard that feedback, or we'd love to be there. One of the grocers, their broker said they would love to be there. There's no place to put them. So that's why we're excited about the small area plans and some of the development opportunities that may occur from that. So that's that summary, and then this just kind of gives the benchmarks that have been set up for us for our work. So with that, we're going to ask if you have any questions.
Okay. Councilman Young, did you have anything before?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quick question for you. I just wrote it down, or just had it for a quick second. I see the places in which you reached out to was grocers. You said 4, media, you said 2, retail tenants 6, real estate brokers 12. Is there a reason why we went with more real estate brokers than the retail tenants?
Yes, a lot of times the first entry into a market is through the brokers and through their representatives. So it's a little bit harder sometimes to get to the real estate director, let's say, of a Harris Teeter or a Walmart. So I know a lot of the brokers in this region from the work I've been doing for the last 25 years. So when I was at ICSCs and just in casual conversations over the last 3 months, particularly because of some of the small area plans, I've been reaching out to those brokerage firms. And it's firms like Rappaport, it's firms like Freddie Lewis and Associates, and she represents a lot of small businesses and black-owned businesses. Next Realty, which represents a number of tenants. So it's reaching out to them, letting them know what's coming, letting them know what's happening, and kind of saying to them, these are the types of tenants that you represent we'd like to see here. So it's kind of your first entree in.
Thank you. Because I hear what you're saying, and I guess what I'm finding somewhat of a concern with is that, from what I'm hearing is that, okay, you don't have the market for this, you don't have the market for this particular type of attraction for this retailer. But if you think about it, National Harbor didn't become National Harbor until the restaurants got there. The wharf didn't recently become the wharf until more restaurants got there. So what I'm hearing is that, how do we get there? What is your strategy for us getting there? Because what I'm hearing right now is that it's almost like, okay, you're not going to be able to attract it with it currently looking like this. My question is, how do we get there?
One of the best ways to get there is to have development sites that are available to put them in. And that's why I'm excited about this grocery site. I'm excited about the small area plans. And I know one of the shopping centers has already told us that once the Route 1 happens, they're looking at redeveloping their site. If that happens, that's a great opportunity to then be able to bring some of those types of tenants in. And with the waterfront, if there's an opportunity to bring in retail, that's an ideal opportunity to bring in your restaurants.
So with the current spaces that we have now and the current land availability, you're saying that it's very limited?
Very limited, yes.
Okay.
Which is a good thing too, that your vacancy, you've only got 2 vacancies. So that's actually very good. That's a positive thing.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Pete?
Thank you, there, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. Just a few things to go over here. When you mentioned a marketing platform, what marketing platform are you guys using to get this message out?
Well, for us, it's building this marketing deck that will have the marketing data in it. It's basically going to be a PowerPoint that will be a marketing, I call it a marketing deck. It'll be 8 to 15 slides that all of you will have access to. And building on what Steve said, it's making certain everybody has the same material, the same information, and the same messaging. So it will have information, and as we're building this, like, again, if the grocery site is approved and we can get renderings, we'll put that in and talk about what the demand is and where that opportunity is. The small area plans, we had a phone call with David Samba earlier tonight. Once they start to get renderings and images, we'll pop that in. Again, that's showing the vision. And all of you will have access to that. And for me, if I'm sitting down with a retailer and this is what they want to see, retail typically takes 3 to 5 years from when they first start looking, so you are at a perfect time. You've got all this stuff coming. So now is the time to be talking to these people. And again, when I talked to the one broker about, do you represent blah, blah, blah grocery store? And he said, yes. And I said, here's what we're doing. And again, he knows my work. And he said, we're interested in that market. Right now, there's no place to put them. So it's using that deck to show, here's what's coming. Stay on our radar screen. And I'll give you an example. Stafford County, 9 years in a row, I tried to meet with Harris Teeter. Harris Teeter said no. On year 10, they said yes. It still took 5 years to get Harris Teeter into Stafford County. So, and part of the reason they said no was they had put a moratorium on new residential. That's kind of scares a grocer that you're not going to build any new housing. So. Okay.
So, and also, have you guys looked in, took into consideration and looking into Main Street as far as well, and what the turnover would that look like? As we're looking into these here?
Well, when we get the information on that plan, and I'm actually sitting down with David Samba's team next week to kind of get an update on that, yes. So, and what types of businesses would make sense there, and what are the development opportunities on that Main Street? And are there businesses that are growing that might be able to either move there or expand there that are already in town?
Okay, and then I also heard you speak of regional attractions, right? So, and that we needed something else, and quote me if I'm wrong, out of all of that, did I gather the right thing? Did you say that we need something else outside of Rosie's that can help us bring a drawing?
I'm not sure I'd qualify it that way or lay it out that way.
Okay.
But yes, Rosie's is a draw, but it's also looking at, if you think about it, you got Dumfries, you got Quantico down here, you've got over 11,000 people that work there every day. Many of them are coming up Route 1. That's an audience to capture, including at lunchtime. And then you've got Potomac Shores North, residents that will be moving in there. That's another audience. It's a draw. It's not in Dumfries, but it's still a draw. And it's a draw. The tenants don't look at town boundaries. They look at, all right, if I'm going to be at Route 1 and 234, my market is 3 miles in a ring. That's my draw. So we're looking at all of that. In our full presentation, we have a map that we've included some of those in there.
Okay. So. All right, sounds good. That helps me on my end. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. My very first question that I wrote just from reviewing the agenda before we got here, I think you may have answered it, but I just want to go back to it to make sure I heard it. So my question was, what are the barriers the retailers are identifying that we can actually address? What I heard you say was the inability to franchise. You said there was no franchising, and then I heard you say there was no space. Did I miss anything?
The quality of the space.
The quality, okay. And I understand that because I also heard you talk about for us to look into facade renovations. So I get that with the quality of the space. One thing that's also very curious to me is the density. Previous consultants have harped on Dumfries doesn't have the density. And the challenge that I have with that is I still, to this day, 6 years later, I still don't understand what the calculation is for density especially when I hear you say things like, you know, a retailer or a grocer will look at the radius as a 3-mile radius. And within the 3-mile radius, I know Dumfries has density. So I want to understand what is the density calculation, or what is that rate or that threshold that we're looking to get to, because within the town of Dumfries, we are more densely populated with residents than we are with anything else, than we are with retail, or maybe churches come in a close second. But, you know, when it comes to retailers and businesses, what we have in Dumfries are residents. Right. And in my mind, when I think when I think about density, I think about how many people do we have packed into this defined box. And it seems like a lot. So I want to understand that a little bit more.
Every retailer, every type of retailer has their own density threshold. I'll use grocery stores for an example. A Walmart has a 10-mile radius, and they need to have or Costco is probably even a better example. They need to have 300,000 people in their trade area. So that would, like, if we were looking to try to get a Costco here, that would be Dumfries, that would be going into Stafford County, it'd be going further up Prince William and going over 95. If you're looking at, let's say, a Giant food store, their typical trade areas, they look at between 1 and 3 miles. They look at population, but key for them is households. The low threshold that is kind of the benchmark is 10,000. That's not 10,000 in Dumfries, it's 10,000 in the Giant food stores trade area. And you have that when we start to use those trade areas, we hit that. And that's why we've realized the 5 and 10 minute trade areas are the sweet spot. They're a little bit bigger than Dumfries, but we can sell Dumfries on, you're right in the middle of this trade area that captures that audience. That's why, as we've gone through everything and looking at the population, the 5 and 10 minute are really strong. So we think that's really key. And that is a typical trade area for many retailers, whether it's a local restaurant, if it's a regional restaurant, if it's even a national restaurant. And then looking at the next sweet spot is the vehicle count. You have unbelievable vehicle counts for a town of this size. The traffic coming up and down Route 1 is incredible. It's over 40,000 vehicles a day. That's incredible. And they look at that. If it was 5,000, they would not be interested.
So with that said, because it sounds to me like you just convinced me that we have the density, but what you said is that what your report said is that we don't, that Dumfries density falls below average. Or
the town's density, but the trade area density is there.
So when we're talking to these potential clients, are we talking about the town of Dumfries, or are we talking about the threshold, the surrounding area, the trade area? What are we talking about?
We're talking about trying to get them to come to Dumfries using the trade area as their metric.
Okay.
So you need to be here, because if you're here, and again, I'll go back to that grocery anchored site, you got 5,700 square feet of inline space. To me, that, and I think Reggie could back me up, that I get really excited about it. And I've talked to a couple of brokers to let them know this might be approved and this is an opportunity. If you just looked at the town at 7,000 people, for many tenants that's just not enough. But if I say to them, in a 10-minute drive time, I've got 18,000 people, they're like, done, okay, good.
Okay.
So it's selling the town by using its trade area as an asset and as a benchmark.
So then can I assume that's what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that, because it was sounding conflicting to me. I was hearing, you don't have it, but you got it. And so I was trying to understand. So with that said, now that we know that in this trade area, because at this point, I'm not looking for the town of Dumfries density. I'm looking at the trade area, because you just taught me something tonight, right? So in our trade area, when you look at the amount of people we have in Dumfries, which is densely populated, now we also have Potomac Shores, which is in our trade area, right? We have the density. And then I also saw in your report that the data indicates that there's a demand for family style, casual eateries, et cetera. It sounds to me like we got what they need. So I'm not understanding where the misfire is, then what's making it so complicated if everything that I'm hearing says, well, we have what they need. So then why aren't they
Well,
working?
And I think if you haven't built that trade area like it hadn't been done, if it hadn't been done before, and if a retailer's looking at just Dumfries, they're going to say it's just Dumfries, it's not big enough. But I think what you're giving me is we're going to adjust our report a little bit to make sure that that's clear, so that when you get the full report, it's very, very clear that the town of Dumfries is here, the opportunities are here, and the trade area is really strong. So.
Right, and I would like that adjustment made, not just for my edification, but I want to know that that's what you all are saying to the potential clients, because I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that that's what you were saying to them. I hear you saying it to me in a roundabout way, but I want to make sure then that we're saying it to them that, you know, this trade area is giving us the density that we need, the density that will sustain these, you know, different retailers or clients or whomever.
If you look at the 2-pager or even that snapshot with icons, we have the 5, 10, and 20-minute trade areas profiled and highlighted. And that is very deliberate, so that when we were at the local retail show, and we met with the brokers and met with a couple tenants, that's what we showed them. So, yeah. But I think that's our fault for not communicating that properly. So we'll make sure that that is also very clear.
Thank you. I like clarity.
Well, I forget sometimes too. I do this in my sleep. So like if I'm talking to somebody, they know what I'm saying. So it's.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Peterson.
So I'm concerned on your clarity of what you're saying to these people out here. What I'm hearing you say to us, and me being a Dumfries resident, I hear you saying quality of space. I'm hearing you say old and unattractive. Is this the things you're saying to these retailers out here?
No.
Because me being a Dumfries resident, I will go to one of these old, unattractive places and I will buy Lululemon.
Right.
And I will spend $200-300. So what are we saying to these people when we're asking them to come to Dumfries? I've heard you say we only have 2 buildings. What are you saying to these people to get them in these 2?
When we met with brokers at the regional ICSC, the retail show, we talked about all of the improvements are coming, the small area plans are coming, that there's new development coming, the road one, and everybody who knows this market from a real estate standpoint knows what the problem is on Route 1 and how it becomes a chokehold, as well as 95, around Stafford becomes a chokehold. So when we talk to them about the road improvements, they're all like, thank goodness, this is something you need. It'll help open up. So we talk about those things, and we talk about the trade areas. We talk about there are 10,000 people living here, 15,000 or 18,000 people, I don't remember the exact number in the 5 and 10 minute, but here's what your audience is. And then the other thing we talk to them about is here's what's missing from the market, here's what the demand in the market is. And again, it's using those trade area numbers rather than just the town numbers. So that is what we're talking about. And that's why that 2-page profile, that's what we give people right now until we have the full deck done.
And again, I heard you with the negativity, with you saying Route 1 and all the traffic we have. What about the positivity?
Well, that is positive. Route 1 having the vehicle traffic and the accessibility you have is positive. Retailers love traffic. So they like cars, they really do. So.
Okay. I just feel like we should give them more positive. I hear you saying a lot of negative, and then I hear you drawing to Dumfries, and you kept saying Black-owned businesses. Is that what you're focusing on for Dumfries?
No. But we know that's a priority. We know it from the surveys that were done by Steve Chandler. We even heard it tonight with the celebration that was happening and the proclamation. So we know that is a sweet spot for many of the residents. So if that is a sweet spot, part of, I think, my obligation and our team's obligation is to make sure that we market to those types of businesses as well. And again, we've been reaching out again. Lewis Real Estate in DC, this is who she represents primarily, and I've known her for 30 years. And then SVN Real Estate, which is based in Northern Virginia, also has a lot of clients that are minority owned. And they're small businesses, they're local businesses, they're Virginia-based businesses. So if that is a priority for the town, and that came out through some of the survey work, that is also has to be part of our audience and part of our conversation as who we're targeting, rather than just national chains. Because you have a lot of fast casual, you have a number of fast food that are national chains. Again, what we saw in the survey data is that's not what people want. So.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Fields.
Thank you for. I think this is one of the best outlooks we've had in the past few years of people doing exactly what we send for them to do, we pay for them to do. And this is, I'm just so thankful that it's more understanding, more positive than negative, for sure. I'm definitely seeing that, and the way it's broken down and explained, I definitely appreciate that too. We are important in the surrounding area. We can be more important in the surrounding area. Many thousands of residents live just on the other side of us, that they have to travel through this town mostly to get there. And instead of them going south or west or north, they can just go right here, central, without passing go, if you will. So I appreciate the attention that's brought to that, and the highlight that the surrounding area could benefit whoever that wants to come here. I think we got something to give them. I think it's going to be good. Thank you.
Well, and I appreciate the feedback. And I want to be clear, it's not, when you see the full report and you see the SWOT, it's challenges and threats, it's not negatives. So, and we specifically didn't put that up there because we wanted this presentation to highlight, here's what the strengths are, and you have a lot of strengths, and then here are what the opportunities are. And you've got a lot going on. You know, and if you look at the surrounding marketplace, it's starting to run out of development parcels. So with the waterfront, the small area plan, Main Street, Dumfries is ideally poised to be the next, you know, audience for the retailers and the developers to pay attention to. So, and I like Steve said, Dumfries, I said, you know, positioning Dumfries as, I'm saying Dumfries is a town with a small town feel, with intention, and I don't remember the entire thing, but that will become part of our marketing presentation, is using that, because it really sends a message that you're intentional, you're celebrating your history and your richness. We like a small town feel, but we also want vibrancy. And there are many small towns in the United States. Media, PA is one. If you've never been there, I urge you to drive through it and stop. It's a small town outside of Philadelphia. Is it a town of 9,000 people, maybe?
Square mile.
Yeah, it's tiny, but it draws from everywhere. It has a 3-block main street that is always busy. It's always occupied. But it's Media, Pennsylvania. Media, PA. And then there are some other cities that kind of do a small town feel with a large town, you know, image. And it's focusing on those attributes that are here. I mean, we went up to Potomac, Stonebridge at Potomac. You know, it's nice. It was nice and walkable. If that's what you want. If you want local businesses, if you want to go to the ice cream store, you know, you got a Harley Davidson store, that's pretty cool. You know, if you want some of the smaller businesses, some of the ethnic restaurants, you're not going to get them. Yeah, we can go to chain restaurants. We had lunch at one. You know, but this is not who you are. You've got, again, an incredible mix of small businesses. It's that hometown feel. I will find the city that uses it's a small town with a hometown feel. So,
Councilman Pete.
Oh, yes, thank you there, Mr. Mayor. Okay, so my last one here, out of these recommendations that you guys have proposed here, right, what are your top 2 or 3 that you believe that we should position ourselves in as far as what you're suggesting here?
He's going to pull it up for me.
Because I see creation, you know, moving, looking at, okay, so what's next after this, right? So
Number one is promoting the town. The town is not out there all that much. It's promoting the town, building that brand consistency. Steve had some slides up that showed the inconsistency.
Now, as I'm at, my apology, but as I've asked this question, I'm looking at is there something that we need to do on these recommendations from our end, or is this something you guys are positioning yourself in?
I think it's a combination.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Everybody needs to be promoting Dumfries. We can facilitate certain things. I think our team's job is to get you in front of the retailers, the brokers, and the developers. I have a great relationship with all the real estate and retail media, so I will help with that. But my job for that is to get you in front of it, and then your team to take that over and do those things. The other thing is creating that toolbox so that, and we're working on that, we're fleshing that out. Are there incentives that are easy? Some cities and towns will put together a package called a toolbox, expedited permitting. I'm a small business and I want to come in, I've got a 90-day LOI, it's going to take me 110 days to have somebody come in and do a permit review, my LOI is expired. So it's creating things like that, that we know if we're going to come to Dumfries, I can get a permit in 30 days if the property is like suitable. I can do this. We know that there's money that will help us. You know, maybe it's an incentive. Stafford County, supposedly, we're trying to verify it, has used an abatement of certain taxes to help woo some tenants in, if that's something that could be done. Rent sublimation, white boxing, you know, giving a landlord a grant of $5,000 maybe, where they can, you know, clean up a retail space so that it's ready for a tenant to move in. It cuts down the barrier, particularly for a small business to go in. So that's what we're working on. So it would really be the marketing, and it's that retail toolbox. And that, again, we're fleshing that out.
Thank you for the clarity. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
I'm going to start. Let me start with the feedback from the phone calls you've made, which have been consistent for the last 6 or 7 years. Franchises don't have franchisees, don't have financees. You know, we've had people, but I want to go back because you said something that I think that stood out. You have one strip mall owner who's ready to develop, but you didn't talk about what is the other strip mall. What do they want to do?
We have not been able to get them to respond to us, so I don't know.
I mean, I probably know. They probably. I'll leave that alone. I want to ask, you know, as we look at the majority of the feedback you've been getting from the brokers, what do you, not the franchises, but the brokers, what has that feedback been from those conversations?
I think, again, I had a lot of conversations at ICSC in Las Vegas. And some of them were very casual conversations. This is a 3-day show where there's lots of meet and greets.
I've been to one.
Okay. And a lot of it was, here's what we're doing, you know, here's what we're working on, here's what's coming. And again, the feedback I got is that's a market we'd like to be in. There's no place for our tenants to come in yet. So that is almost the most consistent comment. The second most consistent is the fact that we've had tenants look, this space is not suitable. And it's either it's not big enough for the tenants, because some of the small space that's available is 1,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet. Some of them need 2,500 to 3,500. And then it doesn't have the necessary infrastructure for today's tenants. So some more contemporary restaurants have higher requirements in terms of infrastructure. It's those high value hoods that require incredible electric power and incredible refrigeration. They don't exist in some of these businesses that are there, the vacancies. So if they were to come in, one of the things is they have to spend all that money themselves. Businesses love secondary space. The stove is there, you know, the hood is already in place, the ventilation is in place. I don't have to cover that cost. That infrastructure's there. Cuts my cost down by 1/3. So that's the other thing that we've heard, is that the space is out of date.
Okay. For building a pathway for the local and the minority businesses, I like what National Landing did. With the, what is it called, the Waterford or whatever? I think, are you familiar with JBG Smith?
Yep, very much so.
Now, do you think a model that they did to bring in those small local businesses would work here? If we, I mean, being that the way they put them in and they helped, they became a great partner for Amazon and all what they built over there?
And the way they brought some of them in is they severely subsidized the space.
I didn't want to say that, but yes. That's why I'm asking about them.
That is a way to do that, as well as working with, if it's a new development or a redevelopment, working with a landlord to be more flexible. So, and that's also how you get some of those businesses.
Yeah, just looking at the recommendations, I figured JB Smith, since they already have a model and their pockets are a little bit deeper, they'd be a great partner.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if you had a conversation with them yet about
Not yet. We're waiting for these small area plans to be done, because I think at this point, our best work and as a resource to you is getting the word out that we're working with you. There's things coming. And again, as tenants grow in the market, and, and I'll use Harris Teeter. They've just, signed a new lease. They've just opened the Stafford store. We know they want to expand in the market. They're not going to do another one for another couple of years. So here's Dumfries. Here's what's going on. In 3 years, there may be an opportunity. Keep us posted. So that's the kind of thing.
In the report that you're giving us, is it mainly market data, or are you also giving us a recruitment plan?
It's a recruitment plan as well.
Okay, recruitment plan. All right, well, great. Thank you for your time here today and your detailed answers that you've given us back. Oh, Chair Pro Tem, sorry.
So I do, thank you. Sorry about that. I wasn't gonna, but what I'm hearing in the consistent theme, just in terms of all the work that we have going on, am I hearing that once we complete the branding strategy and how well we implement, that will play a key role in the success of recruiting? So do y'all work with Steve at all? I know y'all met, but how closely do you work with Steve in developing the brand?
Well, he and I shared our presentations prior to this. I got it before you did. So, and it was just his draft, so we could see what he sent me was the survey results, so we could see what the survey results were. And so we met today deliberately so we could get to know each other better and figure out how do we share information better, and how do we play off, because the data is supporting what the residents are showing as a desire, and that's key. The synergy is amazing. You don't generally see that, so.
Okay, yeah, and I just wanted to clear that up just to make sure, like, and to also reiterate to our citizens that we're on the right track, that all these things that we have going on in conjunction with each other complement each other to get us to where our goal is. So I just wanted to point that out in the
Well, and then with the small area plans, we have done work with Kimley Horn quite a bit. And so I'm sitting down with David and his team in his office next week when I'm down here again next week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll now take a recess to 9:05 to give you all a stretch break bathroom. So,
Shop. Spend more money.
Thank you, Reggie.
Okay. All right, next on our agenda is our fourth quarter treasurer's report. We're going to ask Mr. Garland Miller to come to the podium, and the floor is yours, sir.
Hi, and good afternoon, or good evening, rather. This is obviously the fourth quarter quarterly report for the Treasurer's Department. As you all are quite aware of, the format has remained unchanged. We're just adjusting the figures, and let's see. There we go. The first page really contains the information on the checking accounts and the investment accounts and where we currently, our status. We began the top section is on essentially our checking accounts. We began the quarter at a little over almost 10.6 million, and that has increased to 11.6 million. So it's an increase of a little over 1,100,000 in terms of what's in the checking account. Predominantly that is the general fund. The savings account is the next section, and we began at essentially almost 1.2, 1.3, and it's increased about $1,900, just give or take, which is predominantly just interest. The investment accounts, there's been a little activity in there, mainly in terms of the interest and some of the growth that has occurred, but the balances were a little over 9.3 and are now currently 9.4 million. So to report overall, currently there's a little over 22.3 million in cash value in the various accounts that we maintain. So total, we've grown, it's been a very positive quarter, okay? The remaining pieces of this particular report are where we're showing each of the deposits, we are showing the disbursements. So on page 84 through 89 is a listing of the deposits that have occurred over that quarter. And then if I click through, starting on page 90 is the disbursements, and they're listed through page 95. But it does provide you some detail in there, in that report itself. I'm not sure if there are any specific questions. Be happy to address them if you'd like. Kind of basing this off of prior reports as well. So I'll just kind of open the floor and let you, if you have questions.
Yeah, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Good evening. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Quick question. I know it's early in the budget season, but are there any trends that you're starting to notice that council should be aware of as we are, kicking off this new budget year?
Well, technically we're really concluding one fiscal year, and that really, which will come into play in the next report, there's really a 45-day accrual period where they're still recognizing some revenue that will move back into the prior fiscal year. So while it is a little early in terms of the new budget, we're still finishing out the old budget at this point. The positive trends are obviously some of the, the gaming taxes are doing really well. The formula they've adjusted the formula for this year, so that's being very positive growth for us. The real estate's been coming in at, as expected. So, we're trying, most of those revenue streams are good. Obviously, since it's just beginning the new budget cycle, expenditures are still, you're starting to pay your prepaids for the entire year.
And what about Wawa? Wawa looks like it's doing really well. It's
It is.
on my corner, so every time I go by there, there's a lot of activity
It
over
is
there. I'm
doing
really
very
happy
well.
to see that. And they recently have completed putting in the Tesla chargers, so I'm sure the electric car owners are happy about that.
Those are, we've noticed,
They
they
said they're not powered
obviously
up yet.
impacted the meals taxes within the,
Yeah. All right, thank you.
you bet.
Councilman Pete,
thank you.
fourth quarter report.
Thank you there, Mr. Mayor. I want to say thank you for the presentation and the report, and how well in detail you explained this pretty much. My only take it, and I do want to appreciate town staff and town manager for keeping an eye on our last quarter and like the position that we in within this past quarter. I also want to ask, as we're moving forward towards our as we're monitoring towards our mid-year, that town manager, there comes an opportunity or a time that we are able to save in the area, that we can get that recommendation.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you much. With that, I'll yield. Thank you, Mr. Miller, again.
All right, thank you. First of all, Mr. Miller, congratulations on moving from treasurer to CFO.
Thank you.
We appreciate you stepping up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And being ready to present this fourth quarter as we closed out last year's budget. So thank you for showing us that this is the end of the last fiscal year. With that said, what is the projected surplus before the rest of these accruals come in? What are we projecting as a surplus?
Well, we can jump ahead into the next report actually shows
Okay,
some
so
of
to
that
show that, so
surpluses
it's not,
if you
okay.
want.
So this is just showing the investments in the country.
That's just showing the cash in the banks, in those accounts.
And so how are we doing on interest on our investments then? So are we doing anything there? Or do we put anything in there on these accounts?
We are earning what we're allowed to earn.
Okay.
You know, some of the bonds, you go through an arbitrage, you're allowed to earn a certain rate.
Okay.
You know, before, if you earn too much on the money, then you have to turn around and remit it back. But no, we're fine on that, the interest.
All right. Are you projecting any carryover from this budget to that budget? I guess since you're going to do the next report, I'll just let you go into the next report, and then we can talk after that, because I think we're all combining your fourth quarter with your budget to actual. So we'll go into your budget to actual. So you can move into the next report.
Sure. So, all right, perhaps oh well, maybe I'm at the end. There we go. The purpose of this particular page 101 is to show, just as we did in the treasurer's report, there are 5 major categories that our budget is presented in, which is the general fund, the grants fund, the streets fund, the stormwater fund, and the capital fund. In looking at those, that's the primary, your operating budget itself. The largest category is sitting in your general fund and in essence, the capital fund, which are your CIP projects. On the positive side, looking at the revenue specifically, we are $427,000 above the budget at this point. That will change and likely increase as we start adjusting for the accruals. For example, if somebody pays their property tax in July, it's going to revert back to the previous quarter. Okay? So we general fund revenue was a little around 12.6 million. which is, certainly above the 12.1, 12.2 that the budget was established on. So on the revenue side, we exceeded the budget. A little closer examination of the revenue stream, general property taxes would include the real estate, et cetera. That's up $353,000 in revenue. Other local taxes is this one. Some of what's in miscellaneous revenue is really, I think, classified as other local taxes to kind of add them together, but you're essentially breaking even on both of those, which is still a good thing in terms of the budget. The permits, fees, and licenses were, we were a little, we obviously didn't make our budget on that section, permits. Revenue from other governments, we're up $175,000, so we made up some of the difference there. So you can kind of see the breakout of that, but the bulk of the revenue stream for the town is really in that other local taxes, which includes sales tax, consumer utility taxes, the gaming taxes, et cetera, are in that section. Okay. Moving to a breakout of the expenses. It's listing each of the departments, the current budget, the current year to date, and the variances. Looking at that, the variance themselves, you're looking at, some $3.5 million and pretty much under budget. A lot of that, is still stormwater. The capital budget is fine because you've not really expended, a lot in that section yet. But most of the departments have all held their budgets within line. There's a few, anomalies. For example, the Treasurer's Department, but what turns up there is it's actually positive because you have to remit 3% of your transient occupancy tax to the region, to Prince William. So that number exceeded the budget number by almost $20,000. So the expenses were, 120, and we really took in almost 140. So that's throwing the expense side out of balance at the moment, which will be adjusted, as part of the adjusting entries for the fiscal year itself. But no, the departments you can see those spending variances are, some are much tighter than others, but, they underspent their budget. So with that, the preliminary revenues, certainly our revenues exceeded our budget. Our expenditures were well below budget, which is resulting in an operational surplus. The general fund revenues did exceed the budget. Departments did remain appropriately spending authority. And, we really are in a very strong financial position going into the new budget. So I think to specifically answer the question that was coming up, underneath in the general fund, we underspent our budget by $1.2 million. And then we exceeded our revenue by $400 and some thousand. So about 1.6 is the variance just in the general fund itself. The grants, the streets, they kind of, depends on the activity level of those. So, they're fine, but you predominantly it's the general fund that's driving, your surplus. So specifically to address your previous question.
Did the gaming come in higher than what we projected?
In last year's budget, no, it did not.
So that was okay.
It was like $200,000 below.
$122,000 below our projections.
Okay, so we were off there.
Yeah.
But then, to realize the projection from the year before was, much higher.
Okay.
So, while it sounds like bad news, it's, you've exceeded, 5.3, 5.4 million.
Okay.
Good news is this year they changed the formula, so it's practically doubling that revenue stream.
Amen. Councilman Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Town Manager, I apologize, and I would like to omit my last comment of showing me, of being able to come to the council with options to where we could save. As I see that the increased surplus was at 1.6, I wanted to apologize and say thank you for providing this, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you much.
All right. Councilman Fields.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your report. I don't have any questions. It's just comments. The deliverance of your report, as calm as you are, as calm as we are. As calm as we are, as calm as the citizens will be. As easy as you're able to answer whatever question we may have or thoughts we may have that you answer before we can get it out. That's as easy as we can explain it to the citizen. So I do appreciate that, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So I just had a couple of questions just about the two glaring variances. One for the negative 345%, I think in the non-departmental services.
Yeah, that is specifically to address that. There were, it's the ARPA funds. They were not, we have expenses, but they weren't budgeted. So it's throwing that account, the non-departmental account, off by that amount, by about $185,000. But we have to, as part of ARPA, you must spend the money, and you must spend it by the end of December. So you're in a position of you're going to put in for reimbursement to get that money back. So while it looks out of balance, it will be funded.
Okay. And same thing with the grants. Then that was the other way, 99.
Yeah, the grants themselves, I mean, obviously, this one is, the current year's, we're only showing about $14,000 of expenses, so there's almost, a lot of, there are a few very big grants that they're anticipating trying to begin to expend down those funds. But, that just hasn't yet occurred, knowing that it's also on a reimbursement basis. So, you have to have cash to front the expenses to then get the money back, so.
Okay, got it. All right, well, thank you for your report. We appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is the introduction of our climate fellow. And let me, as Ms. Nicole comes to the podium, for those who don't know, Nicole is our Environmental Defense Fund Climate Fellow, so that the public understands how this opportunity came to the town of Dumfries. We applied for and we were selected to participate in the Mayor's Climate Action Training Program. And this was a partnership between the African American Mayors Association, the Environmental Defense Fund, and ICLAI, the Local Governments for Sustainability. And so Dumfries was one of 10 communities nationwide selected for the inaugural cohort. The program provided grant supported and provided through our partnership at no cost to the town of Dumfries through support from the Environmental Defense Fund, and it gave every other community that also participated training, technical assistance, access to experts who were working in climate planning, pollution reduction, and municipal sustainability. That relationship created the pathway for the town to secure the Environmental Defense Fund Climate Corps Fellow This was not simply an internship that we posted for and filled. It was an externally supported fellowship opportunity that brought specialized professional capacity into Dumfries without the town having to hire a full-time consultant or an employee for this project. Nicole Kabura, all right, got it right. She joined us on June the 1st. She spent this summer developing a zero-emission fleet transition and charging infrastructure roadmap for the town. Her work has examined how Dumfries can responsibly plan future vehicle purchase, how we can identify charging infrastructure needs, how we can understand our cost savings, and how we better position ourselves for future state, federal, and utility funding opportunities. Her work is also advancing our comprehensive plan, which calls for lower emission infrastructure, increased electrification, got that word right, electric vehicle charging, and long-term climate action framework. Nicole, we want to thank you in advance for bringing your knowledge, your professionalism, and a fresh perspective to Dumfries. We also want to thank our Deputy Town Manager, Ray Vines, and our staff for supervising and working with our fellow. Meeting Nicole and meeting her weekly and helping her turn her research into recommendations that the town can actually use. When we look at grants, as we just saw the previous report, a grant should do more than just pay for a temporary program. It should leave our community with the knowledge, with the capacity and roadmap it did not have before. And so I think as we see Nicole's fellowship, what it has done, and we're going to say on behalf of the town of Dumfries, thank you in advance for your service. This is her last time going to be with us, so we're saying all this to her today. And your continued success as you carry this experience into the next chapter of your career. And so we're going to turn the floor over to you so you can share with us about your time here in the town of Dumfries, and give us a little background on you before you go straight into your presentation, so everybody know what school you're going to and what you're doing and where you're from before you start. So we're going to give you some grace because we want to hear that.
Thank you so much. My name is Nicole Chantal Kaburu. Currently a master's student from Rochester Institute of Technology. I'm pursuing an MSc in Sustainable Systems. I'm Kenyan. I did my bachelor's in Glasgow Caledonian University in Scotland, but I did my degree in Mauritius, so I lived in Mauritius for like 5 years. And the reason why I came here was because my professor talked to me about this amazing program about sustainability and how it's going to be revolutionary, and climate change, and how the school is working in research towards contributing to like climate action. And that's how I got into EDF, because it's kind of a partnership where, like, in my program, a lot of students apply for the program and they get in and they get to do these amazing projects. I have friends who have been sent to other cities like Durham in North Carolina, city of Cleveland. So like there's a lot of, it's a program that's going, it has been enhanced through the years, and I've been very honored to work with the town of Dumfries. It's been an exciting summer, and I can't wait to show you what the results I got from the project. Yeah.
You go ahead and start, and we'll catch up to you.
Okay, good evening. My name again is Nicole. I'll be taking you through the zero emission fleet transition roadmap that I did during the summer. I've spent the summer studying the town's vehicle fleet, our police cars, our public work trucks, and here with a straightforward recommendation. As these vehicles wear out and we need to replace them anyway, we should start choosing like electric ones. It saves the town money, it cleans up the air in our neighborhoods, and I would love to show you what I found in my analysis. I've not gone through each and every analysis because it will take up the whole night, but just for a summary, I looked at the opportunity and why electrification is needed right now and why now in Dumfries. I looked at the market, the global trends, the national trends, and also how the police vehicle EV trends have been emerging. I also looked at the fleet of the town. There's like 29 vehicles, but I divided them into 7 cases because each there are different models and different vehicles for different needs, and had to divide them. The method I used a fleet, which is a tool developed by Argonne National Laboratory for fleet transition analysis. The results, I divided them into the cost, the payback, and also the emissions by vehicle for each case, and finished up with the charging infrastructure and the next step of the roadmap. So these are the key results that these are the key results that I found. Once we transition the fleet from gasoline-powered vehicles to EVs, we are going to save $362,000 over the lifetime of the vehicles, and the payback for each is under 2 years. The average payback is under 2 years, and this is going to pay for itself through lower fuel and repair bills, because when you transition to EV, the maintenance costs reduce by 60%. You don't have like oil changes or engine failure, because it's just the battery. The only thing you need is to maybe rotation, do the tire rotation and maybe change the brake pads, but for the rest you just charge the car and drive. And currently the EVs have been known to last for long. Like right now it's an average of 18 years just being on the road. So the technology has been developing over the years, and they have been known to be very reliable vehicles. And also why now? The town's vehicles are aging anyway. There are a lot of high mileage vehicles that need replacement, and instead of just buying gasoline powered vehicles or diesel powered vehicles, you can transition to like EVs because they've been proven to like be very reliable. And also a lot of towns and cities have also incorporated it, especially for the police, which has been a concern for a long time. But right now I think there's a Hyattsville city in Maryland. They have adopted EV vehicles for their police department, and it's been going well. And also the fuel is cheaper because you're using electricity from the grid, which means it's very stable compared to gasoline prices, especially like right now when it's very volatile when you consider how the war is affecting it. So the electricity prices have been very stable, so it's a very affordable option to consider. And also when you look at the emissions, when you transition the fleet, it's going to reduce emissions by 74%. Because when you look at the town, first of all, when vehicles idle, especially like when the police cars idle, there's a lot of emissions being released. But when you transition to EVs, the emission is zero because they don't have any tailpipe emissions. Also, we sit at the corridor of the I-95, and according to EPA, communities that live close to the highways or like just freeways, they experience a lot of health issues like asthma or lung disease. So this is like just the next step for us, so that we also eliminate the possibility of getting such diseases. And also there's savings, as I have mentioned, like you're going to save a lot, and it clears local pollution fast. Also, it gets better with time too, because Virginia actually passed a law that requires Dominion Energy to be 100% carbon free by 2045. So it means like even as like when you have EVs, if that number 74% is going to be higher because the grid is going to be cleaner. For the recommendations, I created a roadmap, and the first thing was to start with the police vehicles because they're the ones that are more polluting, and but then it's step by step. You don't just, we're not transitioning all the vehicles at once. So it's not a big upfront bill. We replace the vehicles gradually as they're due and when the budget is being approved. For the charging at the town facilities, for example, like one of the concerns about EVs is the range of the vehicle, but a typical EV can go up to 250 plus miles on a single charge. So an average town vehicle goes 40 miles a day. So it means that you don't have to charge frequently, but also you can have the option of charging overnight, where you just, when you clock out the vehicle, you just plug in the charge, and afterwards it's, in the morning you just come and take the vehicle, and there won't be that problem of charging multiple times a day. Also, another thing recommended is to right-size the fleet first. Because right now I saw like there's some trucks that are barely used. They are low mileage and they're very old. So it's one of the recommendations we we do an analysis to see like do we need all the vehicles that are here or have been commissioned. So the ask is support including the vehicles and chargers in the upcoming budget, so the town can start first of all with the police vehicles as they come up for replacement with the high mileage vehicles. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay. Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you so much. That was very detailed, and it was a lot of vital information that was composed in a relatively short amount of time. So that was very impressive. Forgive me if you mentioned it in the brief. I might have missed it. I know you emphasized the need to make these purchases gradually as the vehicles age out. But what would a startup cost look like? Like, what is that versus what we're paying now for our vehicles?
The starting cost, the EV, when you purchase them, it's slightly higher than the internal combustion vehicles. But when you look at the lifetime cost of the vehicle, it's very affordable. First of all, it will pay off, like the payback will be around 2 years, where the amount you pay and the amount you're saving from like fuel maintenance is going to balance out, and then you're going to, it's just going to pay for itself in the end. Of course, the initial cost right now, there was a federal credit that was in place where I think there was $7,500 subtracted from the EVs, but right now it's been removed and you're paying like the full price. But we don't know how the next administration maybe will be pro climate change and the credit will be brought back, which is we hope for. But I was informed that the budget I think is 2027, 2028. So that's the amount, that's the timeline of like the replacement. So hopeful that by the end of that, around that period, even as the technology matures, the cost, the price tag becomes lower. Even as you see how the EVs prices have been going down. Yeah, and that's what I'm hopeful for. But even with my analysis, I didn't include the federal credit, but still there was like a lot of savings when you look at the lifetime cost of the vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. EV cars and trucks and things. I like a couple bullets. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for your time here with Dumfries and putting us in the position to, again, town manager, thank you to you and your staff for not just purchasing, but to looking into what we're purchasing and how we should purchase moving forward and things like that, right? Just a couple of things. I definitely like the fact that 74% less less pollution in our air quality. You had mentioned two things moving on from that. You had mentioned plug-in chargers. Now, are you meaning, when you said that, do you mean plug in the charger here overnight or plug in the chargers somewhere else overnight? How does that work? How would that work? That would be here? Okay, so that's what I was trying to envision. If we was to move and transition into electric style of cars, will we be hosting our own stations and things like that? Or how would that look?
The plan was to install the charging ports here. It's in my analysis. It will be more affordable because when you charge, maybe for example, Lower, you also you're paying from the sale perspective. But if you have a charger in-house, you're just paying as an electric bill, which is more affordable. But of course, it's going to cost. There's capital cost to build the charging ports, but it's convenient because in the end you can just leave the cars charging overnight and come and use them in the morning.
Sounds good. Okay, so I like the fact that what you just said of saving money. That goes to what I was speaking about earlier. So in transition this over from what you said would be long time save, right? How does that look, that town manager? I don't know if that goes to you, the town manager. How does that look that we transition our? Are we in position to propose the cars that we do have currently to, per se, we have a EV guy within our town that's coming in now, or a company that's coming in now? I'm not for sure if that's a showroom or showcase or how that look, or are we able to position that to those guys and see how does that look? I'm just trying to see, are we able to use our in-house own serviceable people with the products that we have to transition into this electric style vehicle model, which saves us long-term money?
So if you don't mind, I would address that. We would have to contract it out, so they are more than welcome to participate and compete, but we're not able to contract directly with them.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. All right, if we can see how that looks, so we can see how that looks. Again, thank you for the presentation. Great details and knowledgeable for us and our citizens. Thank you again.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Nicole Kaburu, congratulations on your fellowship. Thank you for being here and for your dedication to preserving our planet for future generations. That is admirable work, and we definitely need it. And I just wish you great success in your future endeavors. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Councilman Young?
No comments from tonight, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep. Madam Town Manager?
In your research, you said we had a few vehicles that was being underutilized. Was that specifically in the police department or throughout our entire fleet, just so I can understand?
No, it was public works, trucks. I think they were like 2003, 2004, but the mileage was like very low compared to like the other older vehicles. So it was a work truck, I believe, the work trucks.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So Nicole, the 29 vehicles, what is the phasing of years do you see as? So like if we start to look at next year, how many vehicles the year after that? So as we look at the 29 current, what is your recommendation? And I don't know, did you detail that in the report that you're sending to us?
Yeah, it's in the report. I was looking at like high mileage and old vehicles, like those are the criteria to like transition, because I think the town has purchased like some newer vehicles, the police cars, and there's 2025 models, so those ones weren't in consideration at the moment. Those are like maybe later on in 2040. But when you look at the maybe I can just look at the analysis and get back to you, but it was like more of the high mileage vehicles and the older ones that are maybe I think 20 years and 15 to 20 years old vehicles that will start the transitioning. Yeah, but it's all in the analysis. Yeah.
All right. All right. So if you meet me in the front, I have a presentation for you.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a certificate of recognition in grateful recognition of your outstanding service to the town of Dumfries as an Environmental Defense Fund, EDF Climate Corps Fellow. During your 2026 fellowship, you demonstrated professionalism, innovation, and commitment to public service while leading the development of the town's first zero-emission fleet transition and charging infrastructure roadmap. Through thoughtful research, collaboration with our town staff, and data-driven analysis, your work has provided Dumfries with a strategic roadmap to modernize municipal operations, to reduce long-term operating costs, to improve environmental sustainability, and to position the town for future funding opportunities to pay for it. Your dedication, collaborative spirit, and your commitment to helping local governments build a more sustainable future have made a meaningful and lasting contribution to the town of Dumfries. On behalf of the town council, the town staff, and the residents of Dumfries, thank you for your service, your professionalism, and your lasting impact of your work. We wish you continued success as you continue your career in environmental leadership and in public service. Presented to you on this 5th day of May, August 26th. And we're going to get a picture, and you can have the whole town council, and you can take that back with you. Are you moving back out of the, you going back to RRT?
Yeah, Maryland.
Okay, Maryland first. Come on. This is your certificate. I'll come in. And who'd work with the most?
Reggie and
Reggie and Ray, y'all come in this picture too. Come on. Hey, come on, town manager. You come on and fill in behind them too. We get our zero emissions. Everybody tighten up. Should give you that you take this back to school.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can we see you again?
Thank you so
Can we
much.
see you again?
Thank you for coming to just a plentiful opportunity right now and just cooperate.
Okay. When do you graduate?
I'm going to be certified next week. Next week.
You want me to?
If you could.
Okay.
Mr. Tabor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Vice Mayor, Chair Pro Tem, and members of council. This evening, we would like to introduce you to Joseph, or Joe as we call him, Murray, and he is our summer intern, and he will provide some brief information about the work that he is doing. His focus and the internship was based on geographic information systems, or our new mapping system, and getting data, collecting data, and creating new maps for the town of Dumfries. So without further delay, come on, Joe.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Joseph Murray, or you can call me Joe.
Joe Murray.
I'm a senior studying urban planning at Virginia Commonwealth University down here in Richmond.
Do you?
Know it? Anyway, I've been spending the summer here with the town of Dumfries as a GIS intern. I'm here this evening to give you all a quick presentation on some of the projects I've been working on. Oh. Okay. So GIS, or Geographic Information Systems, is just kind of the process of taking data and then mapping it. So you've already seen a lot of maps today, I'm sure, in all the other presentations. So you know that usually it's infrastructure or demographic data, and we also use it for planning too. So really, tonight, I'm just going to go over one of the projects I've been working on this summer to kind of illustrate the process I go through when creating maps. So the first step is kind of brainstorming. We'll all get together, me, Mr. Tabor, and Ms. Cheritich, and we'll just think up, what do we need to map? For example, the comprehensive plan calls for a more walkable town. So we decided that in order to achieve that goal, we'd first need to map out all the sidewalks in the town. For this project that I'm going to show you all today, it was for economic development. We wanted to compare the values of all the commercial properties in the town. So after we figure out what we need to map, I'll go out and I'll collect data. Now, if I'm lucky, usually the town will already have it, but if not, I'll have to go find it elsewhere, from the county, sometimes from the state. But if I can't find it anywhere, then we'll go out into the field, into the town, and collect the data ourselves. After I collect the, for this project, I was able to get all the data from the town database, except for the property values. For that, I had to actually reach out to Prince William County's assessor's office and request that data. I was a little nervous at first because I've never done that before. Luckily, they were able to get back within the same day, and it was really kind of a learning experience for me, getting out of my comfort zone. After I collect the data, then I'll map it. Now for this project, I ended up creating 5 separate maps. Tonight I'll only be showing you one though. There we go. This is the first draft of the map I made. It's a very collaborative process when we're mapping. Usually I'll make a draft, take it to Mr. Tabor and Ms. Cheritich, and then they'll give me feedback. And we'll kind of go through this back and forth until we come out with a final map. With this first one's very simple. It just shows total market value for all the properties in the town. This one was really just kind of a test to see if the data was all good from the county. It was. So they got back to me with kind of the second steps that I had to take. Then we came out with the this is the second version. The second version here, which has a little bit more information. You can see the current land use and the property value as well. Now, with this map, I got a lot of feedback. There were a lot of issues, this kind of second draft. A lot of the graphics were a little hard to see and understand. You can see some of the buildings are really small from this view, so it's kind of hard to see what they are. There was also some incorrect data as well. So much so that I actually had to kind of restart, go back with the original data, and kind of almost redo everything. Usually with these, it's kind of the small things that really make the biggest problems. Sorry. There we go. I had to go back, find out all the errors, work through them, with a lot of help, of course. I think the entire project took about 3 to 4 weeks from start to finish. And it took a lot of effort, which part of the reason why I want to show it to you all tonight is kind of my biggest project this summer, so I'm very proud of it personally. This was the final map. You can see a lot easier to understand, definitely a lot more information on here. I definitely learned a lot, not only just technical skills, learning to use the software, but also communication, collaborating with my colleagues and my bosses, reaching out to the county, which, as I mentioned before, was something that was outside my comfort zone, and also learning how to present the data in a way that communicates the main idea correctly. You know, every map tells a story, you know. It's not just the numbers, it's the way that you present them that can really influence how people interpret it. You know, for example, and luckily you can see it, if you look at the top left, the residential by the highway, you can see that the mobile park home appears to be very valuable, more so than the neighborhood below it. But that's only because each individual house in that neighborhood is worth less than the entire mobile park home. Even though if you take the entire neighborhood together, it's probably worth just as much, if not more. But it's not, you can't really tell at first glance. So for me, this really illustrated the importance of how we kind of present data. It's important to flip the page here. It's important to be mindful of portraying the data in a transparent way, making sure that I'm being upfront about what the map is showing. In this case, it's showing the individual values of each property. What it's not trying to show is, say, the value of each area. It's not trying to say this neighborhood is more valuable than this neighborhood. So being upfront about that is important, because if I didn't say that, the audience might get the incorrect conclusion. This is especially dangerous if that audience are policymakers. So that was really kind of the main lesson I got from this project. As I'm wrapping up, I also did some other things besides mapping this summer, just to go quickly through them. You know, while we were brainstorming maps to make, I was able to read through the comprehensive plan and the capital improvement plan. So really got to see how you are all planning the future of the town. Anytime Mr. Tabor or Ms. Cheritich had a meeting, they'd let me sit down on it, let me kind of see them in action. I honestly really learned a lot from those. I also was able to go out on a lot of field visits. I went out with building and development. I got to see kind of how they do things over there, learn about other departments. And of course, I was able to go out with Ms. Cheritich too, on site visits. I got to meet residents in the town, talk with business owners a little bit, and really just learn about the town of Dumfries and, you know, the issues that its residents face, and also how the town is working to address them. Overall, I had a really great summer here. It's a great experience. All my coworkers were, of course, very kind to me. They taught me a lot. And just, you know, special thanks to Mr. Tabor and Ms. Cheritich for mentoring me this summer and making sure I got the most out of it. That's all I have for you tonight. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'm here, but otherwise.
So, Joe, I'm sorry, I didn't let you start off. You told us you went to VCU, you were studying urban planning, but tell us, you know, like how you came to Dumfries and how you was like, how did you find this internship and this project?
Honestly, I just kind of stumbled over it. I was like Googling internships for the summer, and I was like Googling all the towns in Northern Virginia, and found the little town of Dumfries. I scrolled down and I found, oh, GIS intern. I had actually just taken a GIS class for school, so kind of lined up perfectly.
Okay, so you got some real world experience to be able to take back to school as you go in your senior year.
Yeah, good for the resume.
Put this on your resume, yeah, to be able to go and be there. Councilman Peake.
Thank you there, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad you asked the question of how you got here, because I was going to ask, who got him here? Oh, great presentation. Is there room to have you in the house with us, you know? Because great job. You know, VCU's marketing a great student out of you. They're doing a good job. It's a pleasure to have you. That was great. That was great work you did right there. I call it, you made it sexy for us. You know, we were all tuned in. You made us look at, we want packages, we want pictures and things like that. This is going to help us. Then you scaled out the sidewalks around here that could be positioned in the future and everything. that project for you, outstanding. If we as the council can get him some type of something to take home to so he can brag a little bit from us down there with VCU, let him know we got interns up in here. Again, Mr. Tabor, your assistants, town manager, staff, great job, sir. Great job. We look forward to seeing how well you do in the future. You're starting off on a great start, sir. Thank you again.
Vice Mayor.
Mr. Joseph Murray from VCU. Congratulations on a successful intern, and I wish you much success in your future endeavors and hope to see you again.
Certificate of recognition presented to Mr. Joseph Merrick, AKA Joe, in recognition of your outstanding service to the town of Dumfries as a planning, community, and economic development intern. In recognition of your outstanding service as a community planning, economic development intern for the town of Dumfries, your dedication, your professionalism, your commitment have made meaningful contributions to the town's planning initiative. Through your work with the GIS mapping, you provided valuable support and enhanced data analysis. You improved our mapping resources, and you strengthened our planning and economic development efforts. We appreciate you and your initiative, your technical skills, your collaborative spirit have left a lasting impact on the Community Planning and Economic Development Department. We sincerely appreciate your hard work, and we wish you continued success in your future academic and professional endeavors. Council? I'm pretty sure she was a good mentor with GIS. With the map. She's one of the master's degrees. Yes. Is that your ultimate goal?
Are we starting tonight?
Okay. Squeeze tight. No, tighten up. Look alive, people.
Say cheese on cheese.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right, congratulations.
Where the soldier at?
I know,
That was
Fairfax, okay.
Thank you so much.
man, good job, man. Keep your eyes on our website. Apply again. Apply.
I'll keep an eye on the job.
Keep your eyes on. Keep your eyes.
All right, next is the introduction of the new Recreation and Civic Engagement Director. Madam Town Manager, the floor is yours.
While she makes her way up to the podium, I just want to take a moment to welcome Ms. Tasia Washington to the town of Dumfries, and she's going to introduce herself to you guys.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tasia Washington. I am the new Director of Recreation and Civic Engagement for the town of Dumfries. Thank you all so much for this amazing opportunity. As a Dumfries native, this is more than just a job for me. It is an opportunity to give back to the community that helped shape who I am. I am truly honored to serve the residents of the town of Dumfries and work alongside all of you to strengthen community engagement. With over 10 years of experience creating, implementing, and leading community programs, I am so excited to bring that experience to the town of Dumfries. By developing, engaging, inclusive opportunities that enrich the lives of residents of all ages and backgrounds. I look forward to further serving our community and making a positive impact. Thank you.
Councilman Pete.
Oh, ma'am. This is my baby right here. I just want to say Park and Recreation is my baby right here. That does sound right, Mr. Mayor. Okay, for your clarity. this park and recreation thing is the baby, and I've been knowing you for some time here now, and the Boys and Girls in the Club. You actually oversee my twin boys and some others in the community that I've dealt with as far as basketball and football over there, down with Miss Judy and Miss Lonnie and the gang. I see that you stepped up in here. You're going to do well. I believe that you will be able to knock this out of the park. This team is well on support. If you need any help, ask some questions. Don't be afraid of none of us. This is a willing house that is willing to work with everyone within our town, within our citizens, within our community, even outside. So looking forward to you doing great things. I see you already been stomping the beat and observing some things around and moving around on the last 2 events. So looking forward to working with you in this town, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Pete.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Washington, I'm excited to have you here with us. We have built a lot of momentum with our Department of Recreation and Civic Engagement, and I look forward to the experience and the community inheritance that you bring to this position, and I wish you much success in it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you again. We welcome you aboard and looking forward to you getting fully immersed into the town of Dumfries way of things.
Thank you, Mayor Wood.
Had the opportunity to serve with you even as a board member for the last 10 years over at the Boys and Girls Club. So welcome aboard to this side.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, next on our agenda is the town manager's report. Town manager, the floor is yours.
I will be brief. Okay, during the last few months, the town continued advancing its strategic priorities through strong financial management, operational improvement, technology modernization, and community engagement. Finance maintained timely accounts payable processes, improve customer service efficiency, and issue 3 major requests for proposals. The DMV Select generated more than $560,000 in revenue while reducing customer wait times. Information technology enhanced cybersecurity, launched a new IT help desk, expanded cloud migration efforts, and implemented an online FOIA portal. Human Resources successfully filled several key leadership positions while continuing recruitment for other critical vacancies such as the Director of Public Works, Director of Recreation and Civic Engagement, as well as the Chief Financial Officer. The Public Information Office issued 11 press releases and expanded resident engagement through the Citizen Connect portal. The town social media platforms and Public Works and Planning continue efficient permitting processing, inspections, code enforcement, and digital service request management. Public Works also oversaw the successful demolition of 3 structures at our waterfront district. Recreation and Civic Engagement hosted several successful community events, expanded programming, and implemented improvements to future event planning following a post-event meeting and the review of our backpack drive. The police department, despite of its small size, conducted 2 successful narcotics investigations that disrupted illegal drug activities, resulting in multiple criminal charges while maintaining daily patrol operations and public safety responsibilities. We would like to also take a moment to specially recognize our Chief of Police, Captain Thompson, Sergeant Torres, Sergeant Couch, Sergeant Visconti, Sergeant McCullough, Corporal Ocampo, Corporal Solarte, Officer Brown, Officer Lewis, as well as Officer George for their outstanding efforts in these investigations. Overall, the reporting period reflects the town's continued commitment to fiscal responsibility, organizational excellence, proactive public safety, and delivering high-quality services that enhance the quality of life for our residents. That concludes my statement, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Peake.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the town manager, real quick, on the 2 things here. On the farmers market, when we spoke of the flea market being included in that, how did that look? Again, we have that. I'm not for sure my last take was to get that citizen that is generating her flea market style situation is increasing. And what was our last take on that? If you can recap on for me.
Hold on one second. I just
Okay.
want to, Mr. Barnes, do you recall an update that we have on the flea market? Okay, so I'm just going to apologize
Okay,
that I
if
don't
we-
have that update for you. I will make sure I have a written update.
Okay, because
for
it
you.
might have been on me. I don't know if I know it might have been too connected, but I don't know. We'll take care of it.
I believe we provided a written response, but I just don't want to speak out of turn.
Okay, sounds good.
I will make sure I get it back to you.
Sounds good. Okay, and then on the Park City Dreamers, what we got here? What are they performing? Basketball skills, camps, and leagues. When is that coming?
You know when the Park City Dreamers are coming?
Okay, all right, so
Hold
let's do this, TM. If we can get a update on
All
this at our next meeting.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you much. Outside of that, everything else is looking great. I've already reviewed. And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Councilman Fields.
Yes, great report, Town Manager. I'm specifically going to acknowledge the great work of the Police Department and Public Safety. You know, I love that. From being former police officer in this town, Captain, you guys are doing a great job. I see some things as I observe the police department, and you guys know I'm always watching. Y'all doing a great job. Keep up the good work. The investigations are coming out with very great, positive results to keep our town safe, and I just love it. Let's keep it up.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I'm excited to see the metrics from the Citizens Connect app. When I championed this application, one of the things that stood out to me most was the ability for the citizens to connect directly with our town, our staff, and to get things done, to report things, and to engage, most importantly. And I can see by these numbers that citizens are engaging. And so I say continue with that engagement. I'm happy for the success of the app. And if you have not already downloaded the Dumfries Citizen Connect, please do so. You are missing out. It gives you an opportunity to directly report any concerns you have. If there's a pothole on your street, if there's some areas that need attention with grass cutting, one other thing it gives is the opportunity to give kudos, to say congratulations or thank you to a staff member. If you've interacted with a staff member, it's always nice as an employee to get some feedback directly to say, you helped me, I appreciate you. So don't forget, there's also that ability to give those kudos. Again, if you haven't downloaded it, please go ahead and do so. The engagement that we're seeing here in the town has grown tremendously. And congratulations to the staff for your work for doing that. And thank you all for downloading that app and staying in tune.
Did you speak on this already?
I go after you, I guess, unless you.
My question was just to, real quick on the police report, was there any reason for the color coding? Was that for us to see, was there uptick or anything as far as on the police report, like the crimes against people or anything?
No, it wasn't really the color coding just was to separate different areas. It wasn't just to make it stand out like that.
Okay.
But I could get the details I used to get. I can get that for you guys.
Yeah, just trying to figure out if how we trending, if that's something, and if we're still having, I guess, a lot of activity over at the Wawa, and
Yes, sir. I can
All
get an
right, thank
update on
you.
that. You're welcome.
Councilman P.
Town Manager, one last thing. I see we have the Dumfries Labor of Love here. If we can get an update on the next initiatives for beautification with love in September, please.
So you would like an update on the,
Beautification with love from the Public Works Department?
so the item that's on the agenda?
No, not the one that's on the agenda. The one
Okay.
that we.
The sign.
Okay, got you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Love sign? So the labor of love is something different on the agenda.
Okay, so for clarity, when our previous director of Public Works here, he had started a program of
The beautification program.
with love. Yes,
Yes, sir.
and we hadn't had an update since that time frame. So my take on that is if we can get one within the month of September, October window, I'm comfortable with that. Okay. All right. Thank you much.
Councilwoman Peterson.
I just want to see if we can get an update on traffic tickets.
We will get you an update. Would you like the total count, or tell me when?
Yeah,
Elaborate.
just maybe see the difference in what's happening over the last couple months.
Okay.
Or shall I say parking tickets?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Shout out to the people in, I know over in the Knolls are excited to see that the commercial vehicles have disappeared from up there since the signs have been put up, no commercial vehicles. So shout out to the police department and everybody, Public Works, who helped to make that happen, because neighbors have definitely come over to tell me that they've seen commercial vehicles disappear from over there as of, because of the signs being put up. So, well done there. That's all I want to say. All right. Councilman Young, just checking, did you have anything on the town manager's report before we move on?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, with that said, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Councilman Young?
I'm sorry. I think Chair Pro Tem was about to say something.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. It's been motion and second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. Yo, Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I'm excited to see this Labor of Love program. It looks like a great program and really a thoughtful way for us to assist our residents who are most vulnerable. I think it's a great idea. I do have a question about the funding of it and the metrics. I need to understand, how will we measure the success of the program, and if the desire or the demand exceeds what we've budgeted, what process will we use to determine whether or not we need to expand the budget so that we can help more if the need arises?
Okay, I'm going to let Mr. Vines come up, but I'm going to take the budget portion. If we determine the program needs to be expanded beyond the funding that's available in this current budget, we will I can do a couple things. I could transfer from contingency, or I can bring it back with the budget amendment and ask council for additional funds for the program. Okay?
Thank you.
Mr. Vines?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Chair Pro Tem, Town Council. As far as metrics, we would look at applications received, homes assisted, number of volunteer hours, value of donated labor, because we are looking to get donations from the community and from businesses, value of donated materials, estimated property improvements, community partnership opportunities that we log, resident testimonials if they're willing to provide those, and then just, recommendations for future enhancements if people really like it. As you were saying, if Town Council is amenable to expanding the program, then reviewing that.
All right, great, thank you. I think it's a great program. Thank you.
Councilman Young, you had any feedback? Just make sure he froze. Okay. Councilman Pete?
Thank you, Mr. Did he freeze?
Yeah, he froze.
Okay. Just want to highlight, if we could, as we looking into this, if we could look into those. You did mention businesses. We can look into Home Depot, Lowe's, those arenas right there to see if they're willing to assist and help. Because I know at one point in time that house that's just past Rio's that was eyesore for some time with the siding that we all seen with the siding off of there for a long time. That was in the beginning. That was actually a part of a project from Home Depot from Lowe's that started that. I don't know what happened after that. So if we could look in to see if they still in the motion of doing those programs as well to assist with this Dumfries Labor of Love initiative. Thank you much.
Councilman Young?
Yes, I apologize. Having some spotty connections. The last two comments, I believe, it was made, I didn't quite hear. Is there any way to repeat that?
Okay. Can you hear me, Councilman?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the last two that I was speaking of was there was some point in time, the house that's southbound from Rio's Tattoo that was eyesore on the main that had the siding off for some time there.
Yes, I remember. I know that project.
there was, the start of that was started by, I'm not for sure if it was the Home Depot or the Lowe's program that they were initiating back in that time frame. I was just asking the town staff if we can look into those two to see if they're still in that progress,
Okay.
or if they still have that program open. Okay, that's all I had, Councilman Young, man, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. The only comment which I had was that when I presented this to the town manager, was to give back to the community in a way that the council could be connected to and engage with our community with helping out our, as Vines had mentioned, most vulnerable residents, those of seniors or seasoned adults, those who may have had a disability or veterans who may be disabled and unable to do the work around, like cosmetic work around their homes, to see how we can get involved in the fact of helping them out. It's more or less like of just going into like a mend a fence, plant some flowers around inside the garden bed, somewhere around inside their units or inside their homes, just to beautify their homes. Let them know one day, hey, we are thinking about you. You're not forgotten.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor. There's a second. Is there any further discussion on the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, call for the question.
Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Pete?
Yes.
Councilman Young?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson?
Yes.
Mayor Wood?
Yes.
That motion's passed.
All right. Next on the agenda is to adjourn.